Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Sunday. So you know what that means. We're going to have another Sunday conversation. I'm excited today because we have stepped into Mental Health Awareness Month, and we know in our community the impact of mental health. When we talk about the PTSD, when we talk about the trauma, the anxiety, the depression, the stuff that we are dealing with in our community, these type of conversations is what we need. We got to get our community energized and looking for the support of mental health so that we could change some of the trauma, some of the things that impact us in community. Turn it around 360. We can do it. It starts with conversations like this. So I'm excited today. We got some amazing folks here today to talk about this in community. I know you'll be in the chat asking questions, putting in your pieces of it as we continue to push forward mental health for our community. Before we get started, just want to give a huge shout out to all of the amazing family and friends that came out last night to our skating event. It was amazing to see the young people, the elders, and shout out to Dr. Scott. She was the elder of the room out there on her skates rolling around. And we blessed her and took care of her last night. It was just great to see the young kids again. Shout out to the Baby Y, to all of our both sides of the conversation team that were out there. I mean, it was a great event, just great to see families coming together. It was all type of groups there. And again, we're trying to bring this joy. We're trying to bring this happiness to our community. We know right now financially there are struggles. We know the amount of job losses are happening. So anytime that we could have these type of events to bring community out, this is mental health too. I mean, just to see the young kids out smiling, no worries, everything taken care of. It's definitely a great event. So just excited about that. And again, thank you for all of the folks who participated, support. Man, that family event was happening. Shout out to DJ Reggie for keeping it lit for everybody last night. And it was a great, fun event. And everybody enjoyed themselves. So that was what's up. But with that being said, my co-host is here today. She was out skating around, lighting them up. Khalees, how you feeling today? Because I know I need some Epsom salt. I'm sore.
Yes, it was such an amazing event. I loved interacting with the community, all the babies, just to see their faces. I mean, I was out there rolling, John, and what's so unbelievable, I was rolling so good. All the children thought that I was like the teacher. So they were all coming up to me to show them how to skate fast. And all of a sudden, I got 3 babies on me, and they almost took me down. But I'm feeling good today. Excited about today's topic for discussion, and just looking forward to it. As you can see my attire, it is cold. Isn't it May? I got a beanie on, a coat on. It is cold out here, but we keeping up. Looking forward to our next event.
Well, you skate faster than I thought you would because I was trying to chase you down and pull you down a couple of times. I was trying to get you, but I couldn't catch you. You and Neil was running, boy. They was trying to get the bishop, but it was definitely a great time. And all I can say is community, those are the type of things that we're going to continue to do. We got some amazing stuff coming up that we're going to be doing in Impact Community. We got our Unhoused feed coming up on May 20th. We got the Juneteenth festivities kicking off in San Francisco. If you have never been to a San Francisco Juneteenth, you don't want to miss this one. This year, it is going to be lit, okay? We got parades. We got galas. We got block parties. We taking over the streets of San Francisco. We got, man, some amazing R&B artists that's going to be coming out. This year is going to be lit in San Francisco. Black San Francisco, stand up, be proud of your city. All the Bay Area folks who coming out to support. It's going to be a great time, y'all. And we'll be out there. We're going to bring up all of our setup. We'll have the drone out there, our 360 booth. It's going to be lit, y'all. We're going to be out there. Our photographer's going to be out there. It's going to be lit. Come have a great time with us for that event, and we excited about it. So with that being said, it is cold, Khalees. You're right. The sun is out, but it's very cold in the Bay Area. I don't know what's going on, but it is freezing out here. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn over to you so we can go ahead and get our guest up here today, get through our news and our events that is coming up. Community, be patient. I know we got a lot of events and news here today, but we'll get through it.
Yes, indeedy. So I know you all read the news and watched the news. Allen Premium Outlets had a shooting. Yes, 8 victims were killed, 7 were injured, and the shooter was neutralized. Yes, they killed the shooter. So the authorities investigated a shooting Saturday afternoon that killed 8 victims, as I shared. There's others in the hospital, and it's so bad because the youngest victim was only 5 years old. The Allen Police Department said one of its officers, they were responding to a whole entirely different call at that actual scene of the crime. And then this active shooter just started shooting. 33 years old, Mauricio Garcia. 9 people who died, including the shooter. And their 7 was actually pronounced dead at the scene, while the other 2 died in the hospital. 8 of the victims aging from 5 to 61 years old. They were being treated at facilities. You know, President Joe Biden said that in a statement that the shooter had on tactical gear, armed with the AR-15, an assault-style weapon. So awful, very tragic, very tragic. The shooting that just happened, shootings everywhere. Oakland sideshow ends with cars on fire. Listen to this one. A massive sideshow in Oakland early Saturday morning. It ended with cars on fire, and the police was trying to disperse the large crowd of onlookers. Yes, you know we knows what we be trying to see. It all happened about 1 o'clock in the morning on the corner of 10th and Oak Street. At one point, someone was wearing a mask and got into a car and actually used the car to ram other vehicles that was already on fire. So, and then they also saw that people were shooting fireworks at the police. So it sounds like it was going down in a negative manner in Oakland. It was kind of set off. Vida Blue, the legendary Oakland A's pitcher, has died. Yes, Vida Blue. The legendary Oakland A's pitcher of the 1970s passed away Saturday night with his family. The A's have confirmed this information. He was a 3-time champion, an MVP, a 6-time All-Star, a C.Y. Young Award winner, and an Oakland A's Hall of Famer. He will truly be missed. Oakland A's announcer suspended. Now, y'all listen to this. Oakland A's announcer suspended for using a racial slur during broadcasts. The Oakland Athletics have identified and indefinitely suspended Glenn Cooper for apparently using a racial slur during a live broadcast. You know what word he used? This happened on Friday night. Cooper has apologized for his wording, saying it was essentially a slip of the tongue. He stated, "We had a phenomenal day today." And he said, "Nigger League Museum and Arthur Bryant's Barbecue." Bad actor. So, yes, you got it. Indefinitely suspended. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our events. The Salvation Army, the Way Out program, they're offering job training, housing, community support. The links will be below. New Roots, New Routes, San Francisco Small Business Week. There's a conference and an award ceremony. This is happening May 8th through May 12th. Black Wine Wednesday. This is happening May 10th at 6 p.m. at 308 12th Street in Oakland. Project Homeless Connect, May 10th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Bill Graham Auditorium at 99 Grove Street. There'll be free glasses, but you must be eligible. The pickup day is only on May 15th, 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is happening at 1031 Franklin Street. More information at the phone number below. APRI has information session. This is happening May 11th and May 18th. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1301 Evans Avenue in San Francisco. This will be at the back door in the Learning Center. Get direct access to jobs, clean slate, resume building, housing, and much more. Rams desktop support training. You have to have specific qualifications, and the deadline is May 12th. Bad Input by Consumer Reports. It's a 3-part video series taking action against discriminatory technology. This is a free event that's happening at New Parkway Theater, 474 24th Street in Oakland on May 16th at 5 p.m. Latino Task Force in City College of San Francisco is having a career fair on May 16th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1125 Valencia Street in San Francisco. Fierce Love and Joy is hosting panel sessions, creating safe space for our young people. Lunch will be provided on May 23rd, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is happening at the San Francisco Jazz, 201 Franklin Street in San Francisco. Carnival San Francisco is celebrating 45 years of music and movement. This is a 2-day festival, May 27th and May 28th. The grand parade is on May 28th. You can go ahead to that website below. Black Female Project is hosting an 8-week of self-discovery program with Dr. Walters. This is every Wednesday now through May 31st, 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., and it is a free event. Join Dr. Walters in a restorative retreat, June 3rd, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 2161 San Pablo Avenue in Pinole. San Francisco Juneteenth, you heard John talking about it. Save the dates, it's going down. June 10th is the parade. June 16th is City Hall kickoff and gala. June 17th is the Fillmore Festival. June 18th is the Bayview Festival. More information at that website below. Magic Zone 2023 Summer Program, June 12th to August 4th, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at 1050 McAllister Street. Information at that website below. Third annual crowning ceremony, King/Queen. I Know Who I Am. Save the dates, June 24th, July 5th, July 19th. This is a 3-series workshop on self-transformation and crowning ceremony. Youth First, OMI Family Day. There'll be a bounce house, a 360 machine, bull riding, food, raffles, a bookmobile, and the Sugar Bears appearance. This is on July 7th, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Merced Heights Playground at 801 Shield Street in San Francisco. City Kids Creator Con, save the date. This is a free event that will include creative outlets of art, music, and fashion. July 14th, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. 200 block of Jones Street, and there'll be more information coming soon. Save the date for the Magic Backpack giveaway. Mo Magic will be giving out backpacks on August 5th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Ella Hill Hutch, 1050 McAllister Street in San Francisco. Youth First and Invest Black Comedy and Awards Show, August 11th, 7 p.m. The doors open at 6 p.m. This will be happening at the Brotherhood Masonic Center at 855 Brotherhood Way in San Francisco. The fee is a $50 ticket and it includes your food. Go to eventbrite.com. Save the date for a Magic Back giveaway. Be Magic will be giving out backpacks on August 12th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Now Hunters Point, 155 Jennings Street in San Francisco. SFHRC regular bi-monthly commission meetings are second and fourth Thursdays at 5 p.m. in the San Francisco City Hall Room 416, and the Zoom information is below. African American Reparations Advisory Committee monthly meetings are virtually at 5:30 p.m. every second Monday. You have to register. There's a job fair at Treasure Island, May 11th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 351 Avenue H, San Francisco. And you can access both the MNAC jobs and the ETR jobs at the links below. Mo Greens is having a job fair. Full-time and part-time positions are available and they'll also be doing professional headshots. Bring your resumes, be prepared. May 13th, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at 1276 Market Street. The Department of Emergency Management is hiring a training and exercise project manager. The salary is $141K to $180K. The deadline is May 17th at 4 p.m. The link is below. Bring those empty storefronts back to life. 2023 Castro Vacant Storefront Activation Project. There'll be cash grants available from $5,000 to $25,000. Deadline is May 31st, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For more information, you access that website below. Bayview Hunters Point 3rd Street Youth Center and Clinic is hiring. The Office of Civic Engagement and Immigrant Affairs is also hiring. Become a community ambassador. Bilingual applicants are strongly encouraged to apply. The Japanese Community Youth Council is hiring a high school educational advisor. Apply at the link below. SFUSD Pathway is hiring at the link below. East Bay Municipal Utility District is hiring a meter reader, mechanic applications open at May 1st to May 5th. $87,000 to $101,000 salary. Latino Community Foundation is hiring. The Vegan Mob is seeking a skilled and passionate cook. Young Storytellers is hiring an operations and systems strategist, women and gender diverse people. The salary is $62,000 to about $72,000. Apply at the link below. Closet World has immediate openings. Installers and assistant installers, there's a $500 sign-on bonus. Be Magic is hiring a program coordinator. Apply at the link below. Join our team and make an impact on Bay Area youth. New Door Ventures has openings. CD Bill Academy provides comprehensive pre-apprenticeship and construction administration training in San Francisco. Residents learn, build, and earn. So this is for San Francisco residents. Apply at the link below. Mission Hiring Hall, San Francisco Mayor's Office of Economic and Workforce Development, and City College of San Francisco are looking for candidates. There's information at those websites below. City Drive has a free Class B permit, remote learning, training and job referral. Security guard card training enrollment requirements. Go at that the app below. BAYAC is hiring. AmeriCorps volunteers receive a modest monthly living stipend and access to basic health care. Apply at the link below. Excelsior Action Group is hiring. Administrative coordinator, event development manager, a small business liaison specialist. Information, website below. Homeless Prenatal Program is also hiring. Bilingual supportive housing case managers, director of finance, mental health specialist, residential counselor. Apply at that website below. San Francisco Human Services Agency is hiring. There's various positions and there's plenty of them. Go to that website below. BOAT is hiring a senior project manager. California Youth Commission is hiring core organizers. We're talking about Bay Area, South Bay, North Bay, Northern California, Central Valley, as well as Los Angeles. Rising Sun Center has opportunities in their hiring for several positions in the Bay Area and even in Stockton. Wu Yi Children's Services is hiring a teacher assistant, associate teacher, lead teachers, various positions. San Francisco Human Rights Commission is hiring a chief financial officer. Apply at the link below. United Educators of San Francisco is hiring a community organizer. Are you ready to be a hairstylist? IC Beauty Academy has 10 spots open. San Francisco residents ages 18 to 24, they are accepting applications. You can call that number right there. A.M. Crawford Strategic Philanthropy Advisors is hiring a lead consultant. San Francisco office or the Gainesville, Florida office. JVS is offering dental assistant training. Applications are now open for 11-week program. Register at that link below. Join our youth team. San Francisco youth volunteers are needed. High school or college honor roll students join at the email hrbsotc.org. Again, hr@bsotc.org. Give back to the community. We need volunteers. Finance, IT and development, fundraising coordinator, production assistant, marketing team. Email us at hr@bsotc.org. Come chat with us on Sunday Conversations. We have some amazing topics and want you to be part of the conversation. We want to hear your perspective. Click join our show at www.bsotc.org. Do you want to promote your nonprofit or business? Are you making an impact in the community? Let both sides of the conversation introduce you to the community. Click join our show at www.bsotc.org. Keep up with both sides of the conversation. Our latest shows, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to our newsletter at that link below. Both sides of the conversation is in search of volunteers. Our work is inspiring and it does feel good. We make a difference in the community with tangible results to show it. We had that skating event. I tell you, it was going down yesterday. We were rolling all over, interacting with the community. Come join both sides of the conversation because we are a highly driven group with high impact. We get the right things done the right way. Not only will you contribute to the community, but you'll also learn a lot and gain knowledge in your field of interest within the organization. We value your ideas and input. Sign up to be a volunteer today. You can make a difference. Go to all of our social media platforms, subscribe. You can learn more about the news and how to give back to your community and support both sides of the conversation. Yes, we had a lot of events, a lot of world news, and I'm still breathing.
Oh, you still breathing. Give her the pump. That's a lot, community. I know it's a lot. Thank you all for being patient for our community folks. I just got a text from some other people. It's not just about San Francisco, okay? These news and events come from our community sponsors. If you would like us to announce some of your city job openings and announcement, please send them over to events@bsotc.org. We'll get it up on the screen, or you can send it through our website or through our info@bsotc. Again, we're just trying to help get information out to the community and make sure that those resources get to our folks. We are tired of folks in the community talking about, I don't know how to connect. Where are the jobs at? No, we're giving information to you. Go out there, click on it. A lot of these community events are free. So again, community families looking to get your young folks into stuff to do. There are events out there. Okay, get them out there. There's a lot of internships. We should not have none of our young people sitting around this summer with nothing to do. There's opportunities out there for our young people. Also, our next live show is this Tuesday. Y'all heard colleagues. Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock is our Hidden Gem segment. That's where we highlight our Black and brown businesses, our community leaders, and organizations that are doing positive things to impact our community. If that is you and you have a small business and you're looking for a way to get your information out to the community, sign up for our Hidden Gem segment. Let us help you get your information out so we can circulate our Black and brown dollars within our communities. Also, this Thursday, okay, it's going to be a great educational Thursday. The APRI construction and job readiness. Miss Chica and Curtin is going to be coming on to educate people about some of the services that they provide for some of our folks coming home from reentry, young people, transitioning youth, and adults. They're going to come on here and get you ready, teach you how to connect with their hub. They're helping people write resumes. It's a lot of stuff going on, okay? All you got to do is tap in. And this Thursday, I won't be here. Khalees and the team will be holding it down because I'll be out of the country. The bishop is going on a runaway. All right, but I'll be back. But again, that's our 2 upcoming live shows. So we are excited about that. Community. There are resources. There are things happening in our community. Get connected, okay? And we're trying to connect you here at both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I want to start bringing up our panelists. First, we're going to bring up this young lady. Okay, she's a phenomenal voice. She's going to be coming here on Sundays to help support both sides of the conversation. We're trying to get her in the loop. She has a voice, okay? She has a following. She has some great information. Miss Charisma Jones, welcome to both sides of the conversation, Queen.
Hey. Hey, good afternoon, y'all. How y'all doing? Well, I guess you could say evening now, right?
Yes, evening now.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I go by Charisma, but a lot of my other platforms, my name is Science Bay Official on there. So y'all could just follow me there. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I'm Charisma Jones. But for most platforms, that's my name right there, Science Bay Official. So thank you for having me.
And tell them what the science come from. Let them know who you are. What you do in the science research. Wow, this is a smart young lady here. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, so I'm a molecular biologist. I work in a biopharmaceutical company to help develop drugs to treat cancer, heart disease, and inflammation. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've been in the field for 5 years. Born and raised in Oakland, California. Graduated from Cal State East Bay. So, I'm holding it down, representing the town. And yeah, I'm one of y'all, very active in the community as well. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, thank you for being here. When we talk about Black excellence community, okay? When we talk about Black girls rock, Black girl power, she's definitely an example of that. Our young ladies are doing some phenomenal things in the STEM field. And again, we're working with our other community partners to make sure that we get our young Black and brown males and females into that STEM arena. When we're talking about the science, the math, and all the other stuff that's going on, some phenomenal opportunities. So, you are definitely a light for young ladies out there. And we'll make sure we all connect them that's looking to get into that STEM, because it's just great to see our young Black folks in STEM and research. So thank you for being here. Looking forward to the conversation, and just excited to get your perspective in today's conversation. With that being said, we're going to bring up the Kings now. The Kings are here. They keep talking about Black men don't deal with mental health issues, colleagues. They keep saying, where's the Black brothers at? We don't know. They're not getting treatment. They're not getting help. I think it's a lie. I think they're putting out false narrative. Today, we got some powerful brothers that's coming to talk about mental health community. We're going to start up and bring back the legend who was here last week by popular demand. My guy, Larry Jones, Mac 10. What's up, brother?
What's up, JH? What's up with BSLTC having me back? I appreciate the love and all the friend requests and all the messages. I just, I come how I come, man. I tell you, take me as I am. And I only know one way, and that's thorough, efficient, and I figure I'm one of the most available brothers that's left in the neighborhood that puts back 3-4 generations. So I teach a lot of these brothers about their grandparents, their dads, those who miss their dads. I kind of, introduce them to who they are. Try to explain to young men that it ain't just you. It might have been your uncle or your dad. So you might have a trait here or there that we need to help you, get together to, mold you out. So I kind of got a lot of a knowledge that I'm really open to share, because I feel like they need to get the message the right way from the right people, because they already see enough examples of the wrong way. So I'm connected with bbgtv.org. It's a trauma site that's up and starting that's connected with me, that we're trying to help get young people that might not want to talk to their parents, or they don't have a John Henry or a Mac 10 to go talk to, that they can just go right in their phone and they can access people like me that might have videos or Ask Larry segments where they can put a question out there and we might could save a life that way. I call that the backdoor save, where, you don't even know who you're hitting. You just hit, because everybody needs something sometimes. So I'm just trying to do the right thing and be a pillar in my neighborhood, because I help tear it down. So my whole mission is I got God in my life, and I'm letting him just lead whatever I do, and I can't go wrong that way. So appreciate y'all for having me, and I'm ready.
Man, powerful
and Ms. Jones, it's a pleasure seeing you, Ms. Biologist. They can't keep the Joneses down, and you are a representation of how powerful these Joneses roll. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
See, Larry, listen, all of the people, just all the people that friend requested, because they was calling me. Everybody kept saying, you got to bring Larry back. You got to bring Larry back. So, Larry, you got a big following now, because everybody following you, right? But they don't know you're a Cowboys fan. See, when you put up your Cowboys stuff, they're going to have requests.
I had to go get this because, I just found out that Vida died, man. You know?
I know Vida Blue, man. What are the legends?
Vida Blue, man.
Come on, man.
Vida Blue. Hey, but you don't know my favorite sport is baseball, man.
I know. I know.
I'm a baseball player by nature. You know what I mean? But the Cowboys, I told you we're gonna be cool on that. We got all football seasons. I'll be back, but I don't want to do that. My blood pressure is fine. When we bring up Dallas, I need to go to the doctor.
Larry, you know I love you, brother. When it's football season, it's all respectful. Larry's my brother. I got a lot of Cowboy fans in my family, but Larry's always fun, and we always having a good time, a lot of trash talk. So thank you, Larry, for being here again. We're going to also bring up a brother who's been here before. This guy is the knowledge, okay? I always call him the knowledge box. He started a little fire before he left on our relationship conversation. I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I got to get him back for the next relationship show. So we're going to wait to get Charisma and a couple of our co-hosts ready for the next relationship show. Mark, you left the sisters. There was a firestorm, okay? But welcome back. I got to get you back. And they like, no, you got to get that Mark back out here. And we got to ask him some questions. They're going to kill you. So we got to get you back on the relationship show.
Tell them bring all the smoke. It's all love with Brother Mark. It's all love with Brother Mark. Thank you once again for allowing me the opportunity, man. I salute what you do here, just having an opportunity to give voice to important issues that, quite honestly, with all the opportunity the internet provides, a lot of times our attention gets drawn to things that aren't helping us. And the fact that you are making a consistent effort to put things out that are helping the community, I salute that. For those who don't know me, Brother Mark Scott, born and raised Houston, Texas. I've had a stint in ministry, worked professionally in several fields. And I'm at that stage in my life where I understand my purpose is to give back. And I've always had a servant heart. So I'm honored to be able to share the panel with the esteemed guests that we have. So look forward to moving the conversation forward.
Man, definitely excited to have you here for today's conversation. Last but not least, we get up King Mike D. Mike D, welcome to both sides of the conversation. Let the people know who you are and what you're doing, brother.
Peace and blessings to everybody. It's all good with me, man. Staying focused, actively in the community, supporting my brothers and sisters, find themselves, entrepreneur. I work for Heart and Soul, which is a peer-run agency, seeing through stigma, supporting our people that have mental challenges in the communities and family to understand mental health challenges better, giving them more insight, more understanding, also giving them education regarding these challenges.
Man, very powerful stuff. Glad to have you here today. This should be a great conversation. Before we get into today's show and kick this off, I just want to give Khalees a couple seconds to read through our intro and our stats. There's some information that we pulled up about Black mental health in America. But go ahead, Khalees, and give us the stats so we can kick off today's conversation.
Absolutely. According to Health and Human Services Office of Minority Black adults in the U.S. are more likely than white adults to report persistent symptoms of emotional distress, such as sadness, hopelessness, and feeling like everything is an effort. Black adults living below the poverty line are more than twice as likely to report serious psychological distress than those with more financial security. Now, listen to these numbers. 13.4% of the US population, or nearly 46 million people, identify themselves as being Black or African American, right? So the Black immigrant population in the US has increased from 860,000 in the 80s to over 4.2 million in 2016. Overall, 24% of Black and African American people have bachelor's degrees or higher as of 2017. 1 in 5 Blacks live at poverty, 2018. Women are the head of household in roughly 30% of Black and African American homes compared to 9% of white homes. So with this picture painted, 16%, that's 4.8 million of Black and African American people reported having a mental illness, and 22.4%, that's 1.1 million, reported a serious mental illness over the past year. Serious mental illness rose among Black and African Americans between 2000 and 2018. One study showed 63% of Black people believe that a mental health condition is a sign of personal weakness. As a result, people may experience shame about having a mental illness and feel that they may be discriminated against due to the condition. For many Blacks in the community, it can be incredibly challenging to discuss the topic of mental health due to the concern about how they may be perceived by others. It's the fear, people seeking mental health, and they truly need it. Despite all of this, in the US population, major depressive episodes increased 9% to 10.3% in the Black communities. It is just awful, so awful. Suicidal thoughts, plans, and attempts are also rising amongst Black and African American young adults. While still lower than the US population, 18 to 25, that's about 440,000 in Black Americans. Binge drinking, smoking cigarettes and marijuana, illicit drug use, and prescription pain relievers misuse are more frequently among Black and African American adults with mental illnesses. A lot going on.
Wow. Very, very heavy stuff there. And this is why this community conversation is taking place today. With that being said, I want to open the conversation up. Let's talk about this. Y'all heard some of the stats. Y'all heard some of the stuff that's going on. This is a real issue in our community, especially when we talk about suicide ideology. There's a lot of young people who are committing suicide. And I definitely want to hear from Charisma too, from a young lady's perspective. A lot of single mothers, a lot of young people are just struggling when it comes to parenting, when it comes to working, and just want to hear how our young people out there, as well as some of the adults, are dealing with the amount of job layoffs that are taking place in this country. The wealth gap is spreading. The discretionary funds are tight to get access to. People are seeing, you can see from the news, more and more people are taking chances, doing certain crimes to make it. The mental health in this country, in our community, is at an all-time high right now. And definitely it's something that we need to talk about. Definitely we need to look into the signs so that we can make sure that we're paying attention to our young people and the people that we are involved with, because sometimes people are stressed, dealing with depression, and we need to be able to understand how to identify to give folks help and support so that we don't lose another person in the community. So with that being said, we're going to open it up and let's have this conversation, y'all. I mean, we can start off with, what do you all think about the cause of the stigma of mental health in our Black community? We could kick it off there and we could just move it around. Anybody could go.
I'll start. So I really think that the whole stigma that's going on right now, I think a lot of it has lessened with this new generation, starting with the millennials, which is my generation. I think a lot of us, we have a lot of the conversations. We're more expressive. We're expressive with the way that we feel. We're communicating a lot. We have conversations like this all the time amongst each other. And a lot of us are understanding that mental health and take care of our mental health is not only for people that are deemed crazy, but it's for everybody that's going through any type of issue, because mental health and going to seek counseling can be very helpful to get a non-biased perspective. Like, you could go to an elder or a friend or a colleague, but because they know you personally, it might be looked at as bias versus if you go to a mental health professional, you're getting a non-biased opinion about whatever it is that you're asking about. So I think a lot of us millennials and on, we're doing a lot better job with taking care of our mental health.
I agree. There's mental health, but then, we also got to look at insanity. Insanity might not fall under the umbrella of mental health, because insanity is more something like irrational, the lack of understanding, unsound mind, extreme foolishness. See, we got mental health, as far as a condition, is impaired functioning. A person cognitive, biopsychosocial is impaired. It's difficult. They might have ADHD, difficult in school, understanding, reading. That's that part of mental health too. But then there's insanity. It's just a foolishness sometimes that's going on that comes probably from one's upbringing, lack of understanding, hostility in one's culture, or one's culture causing disassociative qualities in a person, lack of communication, unable to build a mutual affectionate relationship with others because of defense mechanisms. So there's a lot. It's different assessments and different scales for mental health. Like Drake says, 0 to 100. There's a 0 to 100 scale. You got transit challenges and symptoms where people are considered impaired or have mental health issues, but these are normal psychosocial problems that they go through. Stress. You got 5, 6 children, and you got a big family, but you're trying to improve your condition. I mean, there's going to be some stress. You're trying to go to school, go to college. You keep putting in for all these grants or getting this money, and you can't get the money you need to go to school, but you're trying to improve yourself. That's stress. So there's different levels of mental health.
Let me roll in. I want to make 2 points, and to the millennial standpoint, they do have a lot of voice, but you got to always remember it's a systemic trickle down. So from the Reagan oppressions of the 80s, from the 90s, and the stuff that we went through, the drive-by eras and the Bush eras and things like that, financially, and the way the laws were swaying, the millennials nowadays are byproducts of what we got poured upon us. It's a trickle-down effect. So yeah, they are more resilient, but remember that they are casualties of the war that's been going on for the last 20, 30, 40 years. Welfare reform, all the women's rights being taken, our rights never being recognized. So this is like the final straw to what's been pouring down levels. So you got to always remember, historically, the old heads, we know for a reason, because we've been involved with it, trying to help mold it to get to the point where now you guys can say, you know what, we're not having it no more. We're glad that that's happening, because we've been getting beat up too long. And a lot of us have been like minorities in a big struggle, like a needle in a haystack, trying to say this got to stop. So I'm glad to see the millennials, but you got to always remember, this didn't just happen overnight. So that being said, I want to say one more thing about mental health. The key thing is to not be judgmental. You cannot judge. Mental health is a silent assassin, and we're not clinically blessed to be able to make the determination of what's really going on mentally. We're quick to say, oh, that Negro's crazy, or, quit acting like that. We don't know what's really going on in terms of the mental health. Is it really just behavioral? Is it clinical? Is it chemical? We don't really know what leads these mental health issues. We don't even know if they're really mental health issues, because we're not supposed to be judgmental when we're dealing. But I will say this to anybody out there young: if you're having a situation that you don't understand, find somebody that's going to listen. And if you are a person trying to help, the key thing is to be a great listener and not be a judger, and don't try to make them change through what you feel they need to do, because you don't know. So that's what I would say to start that off. So I'm going to roll on that note.
And then, Brother Larry, I'm glad you said what you said about not being judgmental. There's two aspects of even having this conversation, I think that we kind of got to set aside to make sure everybody's clear. When we're talking about mental health, there's an emotional side of mental health. It makes us feel some kind of way, because when you're dealing with how you think and your mind state, you will have a protection mechanism to validate and reinforce and protect how you view the world. And everybody does this, whether you have mental health issues or not, and then understanding to what degree it is. But I think the first thing, before we can even move to dealing with it from an objective standpoint, because we do need to have a structured environment to acknowledge and deal with it, to find solutions for people, because not everybody's the same. But I think we first have to just say, look, we actually care. I think we have to make it clear. And one of the things that I'm very sensitive to is, and I'm glad that she mentioned being a millennial, we champion and celebrate the progress that we see generations making, but realizing we need each other. And sometimes I think what gets lost in the conversation is when the millennials or the Gen Zers, whoever, feel like there's either a lack of respect for your perspective, your generation, and the issues you're facing. It's never a lack of respect. I think a lot of times we just misunderstand, because I know, coming from my generation, before the internet, I remember life before we had access to this information. What y'all are facing now is almost overwhelming. And sometimes I think we lose that connection because it doesn't seem like we care from one generation to the next. And I think everybody needs to understand that we're coming from a place of love and we care, because when we see what's happened to our community, nobody's coming to save us. We have to figure this out. And as valuable as government programs are and resources are, it still comes down to us individually, our individual households and families, and our community, the people you touch every day. We have to establish the number one priority is we care about each other and we're trying to help.
Man, I think that was very, very importantly said, Mark and Larry. You know, tying those two historic places to where it is today. And I think, you know, I'm glad you set that context. And I'm gonna go back to a definition that I had put out a couple of weeks ago about safe spaces, because I think not only for our millennials, but for anyone who's dealing with mental health, we talk about the emotional state of people, it's really about creating a safe space. But I think we have so many ways that we think of safe spaces, right? And I know for young brothers, it is very, very important to make sure that the safe space is there for our young people, even in relationships. When I talk to women about when men are vulnerable, speaking up, how to protect and be sacred with those conversations, and don't weaponize when a brother's open up during arguments and things of that nature, because that very thing can stop the growth and the process of a man speaking up and getting out, or for a woman, vice versa. But again, when I'm looking at a safe space, I just want to create this lane for our community that's watching, because I always want to make sure that we understand it, because some people say space is anything, right? Everybody have a different model, but for here, you know, a safe place is an environment in which a person gathers, or people can gather, feel free, confident, that they will not be exposed to any emotional or physical harm. That is a safe space. And I want to put that out there, because a lot of times we can't be emotional in our homes because our parents, if we say the wrong thing, we might get a spanking. You know what I mean, Mark?
So, absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So we don't, when we talking to our parents and we using this platform to talk to the community, we have to understand what environments are we creating for our people. And we need the people out there to understand what's a safe space, especially when you're having these difficult conversations with our young people. Mm-hmm. We have a difficult conversation with men and women in the community. We have to have it. And then the other thing in this conversation is I'm always talking about is emotional fluency. You know, I think that's something that we have to continue with our young brothers and sisters, have that emotional fluency. And that's just being able to sense and translate effectively, to apply the power of your emotions in a healthy and productive manner. I think emotional fluency is so much needed in our community, because there's a lot of these conversations are happening, but we're not really getting the emotional part across. And I think folks are just spewing off their pain and their trauma, but we're really not getting to a point of really the power in all of this and really let them know. And I think that's why you all here today is so important and so important for the community, because it also shows that vulnerability. See, it's power and vulnerability. We have to make vulnerability a part of this is cool.
Hey, John, but before you move too far about the safe space, I do want to make sure we set proper expectations. Some of the conversations that we do need to have in a safe space are going to hurt. Like, let's make no mistake about it. The presence of pain isn't always an evil thing. Some things that we're going to have to confront and deal with are not going to be pleasant. And we still need to be able to recognize the pain and still process it and move forward, even in safe spaces. So we do want to protect people's, we do validate how people feel. It is important, but sometimes we actually have to be able to get beyond how we feel to make progress as a community.
And I agree 100% with you. I agree 100% with you, Mark, and that's what I'm saying. But I think the point that I'm really honing in on, because I work with these young people, all right. And a lot of times when I'm talking to these young people, I deal with a lot of kids in juvenile hall, a lot of kids in the community. And it's like I'm like, because I'm always trying to find out what's the connection issue with your parents, or what's the connection with your guardians. And a lot of it is if I express who I am or what I'm feeling, I might get socked in the head. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is we could have the conversation, and we can have it where we're going to check each other. And even today's conversation is going to be triggering for some people. It's going to be definitely an emotional roller coaster, and we will have the conversation. But we also want to make people feel that they're validated. We want them to feel that what they're given to these conversations, not just here today, but we got to really create that. And that's why I say we have to lead in love, and those action words is what we need. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm talking about how we're talking today and how we're dealing with our community, that safe space is created by folks listening with an open heart, validating and encouraging people. I think that's the most important part of all of it. As long as we are encouraging, as long as we are listening, and we have an open heart on stuff, I'm okay with the critical stuff. I'm okay with anybody coming down, because we need that. But can you be effective and have an open heart with it? Have some humility, have some compassion, and try to keep it sacred, especially when we're doing groups. I always tell the young brothers and sisters when we're doing groups, like, this is your sacred space. All right. It's not about we have to go out here, and this is for us. So today, this platform, this conversation, this for us, this for our community. And yes, it's going to be hurting, because we got to have the real conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because when we don't get the treated PTSD, we don't get the treated trauma, and we run from our trauma, we know what that volcano looks like when it's about to erupt. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the other side about it. And I 100% agree with your approach. But the systematic issues that are outside of our community are using the need for enjoyment, the need for escape, the drugs, the alcohol, like all of these things are being used against us to continue to keep us in that cycle that we have to break free of. And I think having a way to where we can get on code, because I again, validating how we feel is important, but how do we analyze why we feel the way we do, to where we can see it from a place that we're not always being victimized? Because this is the other side of mental health, is we have blind spots. When you don't realize that you got corporations that are running game because they've studied your culture for years, and they know how to prostitute every vulnerability your community has. There's no reason why, and we just speak for us in the room culturally, there's no other reason why our group is at the bottom of every statistical measurable category, and we still pay attention to things that aren't moving our community forward. We still feed into it, and until we recognize that, own it, and then can say, you know what, it don't feel good, but we're gonna get on code so we can move forward. That's part of dealing with the mental health issues, is seeing results.
And also, in the Black community, in our households, some of this stuff is genetic, right? We know our scientist, she'll be right back, but some of this stuff is genetic. So we can't be so harsh on each other And because it creates embarrassment, it makes folks just shut down, and we won't say anything amongst our own behind closed doors, because we know we are hard on each other. We make fun of each other, we poke fun, we bring up stuff we don't have no business, and we belittle each other. We have to be more empathetic, compassionate, and really notice these things and embrace that conversation and encourage someone to talk about it and to seek help if it's needed. But we have to not be so hurtful amongst each other in our households, because a lot of time it's genetic. So, I mean, it's passed on through the DNA, the writing. So you have to be cautious how we interact with amongst each other, with our friends and family, because people really do need help and they need that safe space.
I do a lot of groups, mostly men's groups. I work at our Common Ground and other facilities as doing case management and counseling. And usually in the groups, when we start off, people usually have a defense. They have a defense against somebody addressing them about their behavior. But eventually we get to a point where it's stemmed the cause and effect. Okay, well, when I was growing up, my dad treated me like this, so this is why I'm this way. So you're right. We do need a safe place. We also need a forum where responsibilities can be addressed, or not responsibilities, where issues can be addressed, but people take responsibility for these issues. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times Black folks with us, it's not always, the cause is not always us. The cause is not always, a family generational upbringing. The cause could be the school. The cause could be, man, I'm doing the right thing. I just had a newborn child. I'm out here. I'm looking for work. Everywhere I go, I went to Facebook. I went here. I went there. Everywhere I go, I get turned down. See, this, them stressors there too produces that anxiety or fear or hopelessness. The young brother, he feeling hopeless because, well, I might as well sell dope. I feel comfortable with my own kind. We get along. We can communicate with each other. I feel protected. But at the same time, I go here looking for a job to take care of my family, take care of myself. And like the brother was saying, the social economic disparities, the institutional systemic racism is something that truly needs to be addressed on all levels, on all fronts.
But Mike,
I think a lot.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I think a lot of the time, to piggyback off of what Mark was saying, we have to bring a sense of, I want to say, like, tough love to the situation, because I feel like a lot of the time we try to keep people comfortable, and in that trying to keep a lot of people comfortable, we don't tell them the truth, what they need to hear. And I think at the end of the day, when you're not telling people what they need to hear, you're not doing them justice. You're doing them a disservice by not telling them what they need to hear. If they're coming to you for some type of help, if they're coming to you for some type of advice, and they're saying, look, I have this issue, X, Y, and Z. Yes, you want to listen, but at the same time, you want to give them some help that's going to actually help them get out of that situation that they're telling you about, not make them feel, like you're coddling them. There's a fine line between coddling somebody, being too tough on them, or giving them the constructive criticism that they need to move forward and change the situation that they're in to better themselves. So I think that's where a lot of the times we might fall short at, because we want to keep people comfortable all the time. And a lot of people are very sensitive, and that's fine to be sensitive, but we can't stay in this state to where we feel like we can't do anything about our situation.
Now, Charisma, I have to say this to Brother Mark and Larry and them, okay? Because this last Thursday, okay, when Dante King was on my show talking about anti-blackness, I've been identified as anti-black because I want to hold Black people accountable for the things that they're doing, all right? I'm glad Charisma said that, because how do we hold ourselves accountable when we're doing things in our community that also causes harm? See, because I think those triggers that you guys are talking about, that Mike said, those triggers, We have to teach this next generation of young people how to deal with the triggers. When you do get the denial letter, when you don't get the job, when your wife or your girlfriend is going off on you, how do we deal with those triggers? Because if we don't teach the tools how to navigate when we have stress and we come in, these things are coming at us, the teapot is going to blow the whistle. We're creating this buildup of emotions and anger, and when we don't deal with how to deal with the trigger, y'all see the results. People shooting up places, people doing all of this stuff. We gotta combat that. But I've been called anti-black, okay, because I want to hold black people accountable for their
same with me. They call me the same thing. Oh, anti-black. No, I just feel like I'm one of the cats in the field. I ain't sitting up under master. So, but what was I going to say? I grew up in a household that was both kind of negative and positive, and sometimes the OGs, they have that lived experience. They've been to the pen. You know what I'm saying? And but when they get older, they start to understand why they went to the pen. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I was raised up, moms wasn't working, or moms was working, pops wasn't working. Most of the women are working. And I had to, and I basically raised myself, but he an OG now. So a lot of times these OGs, the older brothers like us, we've been to the pen. We just sold dope. You know what I'm saying? We know what it's like to drop out of school. We all these different experiences are kind of like culminated and maximized into wisdom now. You know what I mean? We know what it's like. So we give back. We share. The OGs have to start, the older brothers, and not even just older brothers sensible who went through something, who know something now, they need to give that back to them youngsters, start teaching them. My ex-wife, she had 3 children, and there was my stepchildren. So I would bring these desks home I was doing painting contractor, and the contractors would leave all these desks. So I would bring the desks home, and we would have school right there at home. And my ex-wife be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We having school." She said, "Why are you doing this?" They just came from school. I said, "They need to know what's happening, what's going on out here." And it's the same thing in our community. If we, whether we got a garage, an empty room, if we go, whether it's a recreational center, we need to have them forums. We need to have them groups of expression. Like the sister said, people need to be taking responsibility for certain things. I had to take responsibility for everything I've done in my life, everything. In one way or another, spiritually, mentally, there's the spiritual effect that come back on you where you start losing yourself. You know what I'm saying? Then you got your family who's looking at you. It's like, we don't want to be bothered with that no more. We're trying to move forward. We're not trying to go backwards. So, I mean, it's different angles. There's different approaches to how we deal with this. But one of the things, like the sister said, we got to start taking responsibility. We can't let these folks outside, other ethnic groups, they come in, they really making money off of us. They just charging us an arm and a leg for 30 minutes of a conversation, 15 minutes of a conversation. I'm going to charge you $200 a session. So I'm just saying it's on us to be practical with our lives on how we're going to deal with this.
But Mike, I got to say this before Larry go. I know Larry won't go, but I got to say this, Mike, because you said some things that I'm always triggered by, right? Because me and Larry's going to agree with me, because this is the problem too. This is the problem too, though. We got elders in our community. We got OGs in our community. We got big homies in our community that are also doing a disservice to our community, leading the young brothers the wrong way. So when we talk about the people that's coming to the table to move us forward, it got to be the right elders. It got to be the right OGs, because it's too much glorification and going to prison, selling dope and being shot. Okay, I get it. Sometimes you got to set the tone and let the young people know where you come from. But it's a fine line between glorifying a life that was detrimental to our community versus making a statement and putting a placement holder of where we at and where we going. I always got to stick there, because I get a lot of young people out there that's always listening to their big homies. And these are older gentlemen in our community who are using their experience to take advantage of young people. All right. And when we talk about poverty pimping in our community, they know one thing about me. I'm not going to stand for anybody poverty pimping in our community. When it comes to our young people, I'm sensitive about how elders interact with young people, because see, the elders always want respect. When I talk to the elders, "Oh, John, here, the young people need to respect me. They need to respect us." But if you don't respect the young people, if you don't listen to them, if you don't uplift their ideals and their understandings, where's the respect at? So it's a lot of work in that area, but I agree with you. That's where we have to set the tone, and that's where we have to go if we really want to make change. But it's going to take the elders, the men of the community, the ladies of the community. See, this education and this information, like you said, as they get older, they start to understand what happened. We was all in that dope trap. We was all in the trap. We didn't know. But now we older, and how are we coming back to educate the young people and let them know, hey, this was all planned. This was set up. We got food. So when we talk about the broken families, we talk about the trauma of daddy not being in the house, we got to also educate these women out here and let them know this was planned. This was by design. You didn't understand why you reaping the bad benefit of it, and now you reacting, but you didn't understand the premeditative thoughts and the intention behind what was going on. So when we talk about the advancement of the people, it's a lot of conversations that we got to have. We're going to keep going through it. But go ahead, Larry. I know you're trying to go in there and then Mark, and we'll move it back around.
All right. You already know my thing. When we switch topics, I always adhere to the ladies in the room first before I even kick off. That's just my gentleman side. Don't tell nobody. Now, I want to just say a few things. It's like when I deal with the young men I deal with, I told you I done been through the little kitty kids and I've done with them, and I still look back because I got to stay in tune with them. But I deal with what they call the Tay youth. I deal with the 14 to 30, 35. And I just know everybody can't say everything. So you got to be careful. You know what I mean? When I get out there, I know who I can say what to and how to say it to them because I know who the alphas is and I know who the followers is. I know the disparity in who's with it and who just wants to be with it. I know a follower when I see one, but I don't approach everybody with the same game plan. And I also say that we got to be careful. When you come too raw, if you're not the one that could come that raw with that card, it could get you hurt and it can get somebody else hurt because there's a slippery slope from setting somebody off on a path that you don't even know the depths that it can go. So when you want to be tough love king and queen out there, I suggest you really know you got the hat on to do that because certain situations can be make or break. I've had young men break down and cry that I cried with because I know exactly the kind of pain they have. So you got to be able to make sure you're on point because if you're not on point, it could cost somebody their life. That's the situation I be in this public housing projects that I deal with. I don't deal with kids that go to Catholic school that are mad because their grant didn't get funded. I deal with kids who don't know what they're going to do the next hour, who don't know who's coming to kill them when they go home, who's sitting outside their baby mama house, who's getting phone pimped on Instagram. I deal with all that. I got mamas calling me, asking me to go to other neighborhoods to stop my nephews from over here, from killing my nephews from over here. And they address me as unc because I know they're watching me. So I'm not the one trying to give them weed. I'm not the one trying to take them behind the building and tell them it's all right to load that AK up because they watch what I do. I don't be outside guzzling alcohol and running around in a car trying to call girls bees and because my behavior, it benefits what I do because I talk that talk, but I walk it, I live it. Because when I switch sides, I really switch sides. And everybody can't do that. Like it took a while for me to even embrace what I was doing over here because it was unfamiliar territory because they was always going to say, Maxine, how you going to tell me? Because I heard you used to. And it took a while for me to finally get some rebuttal for that because I had to harp on the key words. Used to, did, was. So we're going to focus on that and twist it to now, do, am. And so when I learned how to flip that script on them, they're like, damn. And so my whole thing is, if you still want to shoot and do syrup and all that, I respect what you want to do because I respect you. But when you're ready to come over here and you want to work and try to get the slow, consistent retirement, live long money, and frame of mind to raise a family and be a man that supports your woman and don't cheat and do good things and do that, I'm right here for you. But if you ain't ready to do that, don't waste my time. I'm not going to waste your time because I know if you're gone, I got to wait till you come back to where I can get you. I'm not trying to be desperate, chasing and trying to buck a buckable horse because some of these dudes are so far gone, it's too late, bro. We got to hope that they either don't get hurt by the game or God bless them or they don't go to jail for life based on what they think they're already doing because it's already justified and glorified by social media and the system that we got, the Jewish media feeding them the rhetoric to keep them going negative in life. It's a big battle that's bigger than us. And I know the battle, bro, because I was a victim of it. I didn't even know my daddy. My uncle called me about a couple months ago and asked me, hey, is it your daddy's birthday? I'm like, nigga, that's your brother? I don't know. I don't even know his favorite color. And it traumatizes me to this day, JH. I'm 49 years old. Sometimes I sit with my woman and be like, damn, that's kind of messed up. I raised both my sons by myself. I used to be jealous of them for having me. Like, damn, they got me. I ain't had no me. So it was a cost thing in my mind. When I take care of them, cook them dinner, sit them to bed with warm guts, then I go in my room and I cry because I didn't know what that life was like. Like, damn. Like, you know what I mean? But when I promised Hermogene LeBlanc I wouldn't be nothing like him, that fueled what I'm doing over here. And that's my grandma. Once I told her that my being was pregnant, I was scared to death. She said, just tell me one thing. You ain't going to be like dude. I don't even know who he is to be like him, but I'm glad I'm not. Because all I heard about him was prison, penitentiary, fighting in Double Rock, and doing heroin. It's not my thing, bro. But my main focus of this right here, my spiel is know what you know before you go. Because if you don't know, it could be catastrophic on both ends. You know what I mean?
Man, Larry, that's deep. I think we got to have a conversation about that because what you just said is powerful.
Yeah.
Because we do have that in our community right now. We talking about mental health. You should see the amount of mothers that are jealous of their daughters, the amount of fathers who are jealous of their sons. Like, this is some real mental health sickness. I see it all the time. I see grown older women competing with their daughters on social media. I'm like, what are you doing?
Didn't I just say it? I used to be mad at my own boys in the same house that I take care of and love because I'm wondering how the hell they get at me and I couldn't even get somebody that, you know, I mean, I said it, James. Let's go. I said
it. And
I think, go ahead,
Brother Larry, first of all, man, thank you. Because you said something that's a couple of things that are important. And I think for us as men in particular, one of the biggest reasons why our community is lacking is because we have to, as men, own our position and get back power. It's hard to tell somebody not to do what they're doing when you don't have the power to offer them a better option. And a lot of times why people hadn't listened to us because we didn't have the power to actually present them with a real alternative to what they were doing and seeing. And when we can get that part on point, we'll make a big step forward. The other thing you mentioned is understand where your lane is, brother. Not everybody could go back to where you can go to and hold that position. But just because you may not be able to doesn't mean we don't need it. And when we can recognize everybody's lane and how valuable it is and can get on code and support it, because I've been through all of it. I did the time in prison. I hung out in the streets, but I've also done professional. I've been in ministry. So I've been an ambassador in all those categories, and I know the difference. I know who can stand in it and who's just talking. And I've seen people mess up young people's lives because they got out of pocket trying to be something because they wanted the spotlight. And we have to be able to recognize that and separate the meat from the bones. Because again, you being able to be a father without having a father allowed that just shows how resilient and committed we have to be as individuals. Sometimes we have to take the brokenness of our situation and make something better for the next generation. So I salute you personally for doing it, but you're an example. And that's what we need. We need people who are committed, who are on the front lines, who are the example. And we need all be on code. And as far as communicating, it's just because I didn't forget about the point you brought. I've honestly, in my years of ministry, when I counsel people, I had to ask them for permission for how deep did they want me to go? Because some people, they want the attention they get from their problems. They're not ready for a real answer, a real solution. So I had to ask them, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, you want me to get 100% raw and tell you the absolute truth, or you want me to sugarcoat this so you feel good for this conversation? Because I don't want to waste my breath giving you something you ain't ready for. I ain't casting my pearls before swine.
Come on, Mark. I keep telling these people out here, we are not handing out soft landings at both sides of the conversation. We're going to give it to you raw and uncut. If you can't deal with the landing strip, don't get on the plane. But you know what, Mark? I got to say this because you and Larry hit on two important things, and I'm going to pass it on to the sisters. But check this out, Mark. We have to be able to give our young people opportunity and feedback when they come with the excuses. And I like how you and Larry put that, because for the women in the community, for the men in the community, you got to give young people something back. See, because if you don't give them the alternative, I like how Larry said it took me a while to get the response for what people were saying. And I think for our people in the community that's working with the youth, working in our families, you got to have something, because the young folks is coming with the excuses. See, because I run this down to them, because they come to me all the time. I'm in juvenile. They say, well, John, I do this and I make this. I say, okay, you like to break in cars? You can go be a tow truck driver. Everything that you could think of, I tell them, sit down and I have a conversation. You tell me what you want to do negative, and I'm going to tell you something positive you could do. So you like to break in cars? You could be a tow truck driver. You like to break in houses? You could be an ADT security person. Whatever you go to, you want to sell drugs? You could go and be a pharmacist. It's a positive way for the things that you like to do. You like to run game? You could be a salesman. It's always something positive. But you got to be able to feed it to them when they ask you, because they're going to try you. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's all about being prepared. And that's why I say equipping our community with the tools, the families with the tools. And back to Mike's point before I pass it to Charisma and Khalid's, this, you know, in our community, there's opportunities. We have to be able to give that exposure to our community folks. And when we don't, you know, we just fall to the left with it. And I heard Mike saying, you know, earlier about, you know, people getting into schools and different things of that nature. My question is, we have the highest rate of Black professional sociologist majors, psychologist majors in this country. I did the research. There's more Black students taking up mental health courses in college. So the question is, why don't we have that many Black folks representing us in our communities? If we have the highest rate in college of Black students going to become social workers, psychologists in the mental health realm, then why in our community there's a struggle, there's a disparity in the Black community of Black mental health professionals? So I say it to the community again, because I always say it. In this country, in this Bay Area, if we don't invest into mental health like we did COVID, you see what I'm saying? We are in trouble, because mental health is the number one issue that's plaguing this country. It is worse than COVID-19. The amount of suicide, the amount of mental health breakdowns, those mass shootings is all related, whether it's chemical, whether it's clinical, whether it's whatever, it's all tied to mental health. So until the governor signs on the sheet to allow mental health students, sociology students, social work students to lower their credentials so they could get in. Because y'all remember when it was nurses, right? We needed nurses. They started dropping those nurses who was close to graduating. Okay, we're going to lower y'all scores so we can get y'all out in the field. That's what we're going to have to do in mental health, because it is not enough mental health providers, but we have the highest pool. So what that's telling me is the pay needs to be increased, and there's definitely some type of educational change that's going to have to happen so that we can get these mental health professionals in our community.
Yes, definitely, especially Blacks. Let me tell you, you go to a therapist, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to talk to why do I want to talk to a white therapist? They don't understand me. They don't know my culture. They don't know where I come from. They can't even imagine the household and my upbringing, right? So it's like, we do need that, John. We need Black therapists. And I think a lot of them go to school just to diagnose themselves because they got their own issues. They really need to keep it real, and they should have had a career change in the middle of it instead of following through. That's why they go on to be social workers instead of being a MFT or another type of therapist. But I mean, I'd rather see a Black therapist than any other therapist, because we don't have nothing to relate. And a lot of the times, like Mark has said, you know, it's the money. You know, they get paid lots of money, right, for you to talk to them, because they're not really talking to you. You got to understand how the conversation's going. They're asking you little open-ended questions, and then you're doing the talking.
But Khalid, I got to push back a little bit, just a little bit here. I agree with you. I think we need the Black therapists. I'm not going to take that away. But there are other therapists that are very effective. And I'm going to tell you why sometimes we do have to have these other therapists, because we know sometimes Black folks don't want to go see therapists who look like them because they're afraid that they might tell somebody what they know. You get what I'm saying? So we got to sometimes use the other therapists to welcome them in, because, I'm going to be real. Some of our people, they're going there and talk to some white folks quick and tell them all their problems because they feel like, hey, they not going to relate, and they not going to go back and tell my little cousin or tell somebody about what we talked about. So again, my thing is, maybe you need the welcome introduction, right, to start breaking down the layers of trauma and issues to get it off your chest, and then maybe you transform and find a Black therapist. So I'm not going to root out none of them, but I'm going to just say, yes, we need Black therapists. We need Black male therapists. We need Black male teachers, Black female teachers. But I don't want to discourage and say, because sometimes
we need a rapper. We need a popular rap talking about therapy. We're going to have to make it cool. Honestly, something about the way our community functions, it got to be cool. We're going to have to find a way to make going to therapy cool and sexy for Black people. Honestly, like, I hate this about us, but there's a reason why other groups know how to market products that poison us to us so effectively. We're going to have to sit back, realize the game, and take all the best stuff that works and then flip it to use it for our advantage. So yeah, we just going to have to make therapy the cool thing to do. Like, hey, have you been to therapy lately? Like, who's your therapist? Like, we're going to have to make it a normal part of our daily conversation and embrace it, so there isn't a stigma anymore. And we can do it. We do it with everything else.
Well, Mark, I'm leading the way, okay? I'm giving you breaking news, okay? I'm going to give you the key. I said major key alert over here at both sides of the conversation. See, because what I'm working with, I got a group of people that I'm working with. We're dealing with some child support stuff, but there's a group of people that I'm working with. We're trying to get a bill passed, okay? What we're trying to do here in California is we want to make mental health part of the employment, right? So y'all know you got a job, right? Every 2 weeks is mandatory safety training, right? So we want to get Cal OSHA, okay? The federal Cal OSHA and Cal OSHA to implement this same thing. Mental health is part of the work. See, because I think we transform mental health, because this is why I always call out all of the allies, all of the corporations, and this is why I be talking about this performative crap, right? I don't like performative crap, because everybody wants to talk about mental health now. It's turning into a cool thing. Everybody's talking about mental health. But what are we doing about it? To change that paradigm, we got to get the hospitals, we got to get the city and county, we got to get the state jobs, we got to get the private sector employers to implement mental health as part of the workday. 1 hour, 30 minutes a day. If we got a 30-minute lunch break, why we can't have a 30-minute mental health meditation something? We have to bring it into work, because I think people are busy. We got single mothers working 3 jobs. How do we make this a part of the workday? If mental health is the true issue, that number one issue in this country, how do you buy it so that it's in the schools? Instead of 7 periods, let's have a period of mental health for our young people to assess them. That's how you incorporate it. Now you make it cool. Now you make it accessible. You get what I'm saying? All of the HR people, all of the self-help, you have to go through this. I was telling these people in the Black community, I was on a meeting a couple of weeks ago. They said, well, how do we get these people on the project, John, to come and do mental health? They don't want to do it. I said, pay them. You pay them for it. We have to pay our people to go get this service. See, you have to sometimes invest the cost. If the investment is to improve the outcomes, sometimes you just got to pay for it. I'm going to pay you for 2 hours to come talk to me. Okay, for the young people that's working this summer, okay, they got an 8-hour working day. Let's make an hour of their working day that they get paid, that they have to do mental health. We have to infuse it into the fabric of our quilt in our communities. That's the way we get it.
John, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of red tape too. It reminds me of my cousin. He was a painter for 20 years, and we was out in San Francisco painting this, this building, apartment building. And dude come along. I ain't gonna say his race or whatever, but he come along. He said, "You got a license. You got a license." And so my cousin, he cussed him out, and it's like that with a lot of our people who got these degrees. I got 2 cousins who have PhDs in these degrees, and a lot of sisters got these degrees on psychology and sociology and therapy. But it's a lot of red tape, like you was talking about OSHA. I remember when the substance abuse counseling, there was no credential. It was, certification, or like nowadays today, this peer specialist support. Now you got to get a certification, and they got medications in there. What are the old-fashioned medications? What are the new medications? What do a counselor need to know about medication for? I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't need to know. But these are, in some ways, they're good because they're for health and safety. But in other ways, they're not good because they're obstacles. You want to open up a boarding care home. You got money to open up a little home, 5-bedroom home, bring your brothers and sisters in so they ain't homeless on the street. But you got to go through all this red tape. You got to go to these committees. You got to go to these boards. You got to have this covered up. You got to have a licensed person sign off on this and that. I mean, it's so much obstacles for us to help our people. It's almost like you got to hire another agency or a lawyer just to get started. Just to get started, you got to hire a lawyer in many cases, just like was the people was telling, why I got to have a lawyer for my Social Security income, for Social Security disability. Why do I got to get a lawyer for that? Shouldn't I be able to go in there? I got my diagnosis. Here's my diagnosis. I take it to social services. Now give me my money. They got to go through all this red tape just to get their money, but they got a diagnosis. So there's all these obstacles that stand in the way of people getting the services that they need because I don't know. It's part of health and safety.
Well, I go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
And again, I definitely support the spirit of what you're saying. I do have to just, in all practicality, just an average brother who's lived in America for a little over 45 years. Can I honestly expect the same system that documented was strategically set up against me to give me what I need to get myself right when they ain't never did it before? Every time they put a name on something that's supposed to be good for us, it turned out to be a banana in the tailpipe. And this is where I'm much more in favor of the grassroots wisdom of our community. Look, we have to have checks and balances. We know who crazy. We know who playing crazy. We know what's going on, who touching kids, who just got a little, like, we have to self-police ourselves and bring back again. With all our women who are making all this money, have all this education, there's no reason why all of that power should not be turned inward into building up and investing in the community. For all of these brothers who are doing all these wonderful things, who get plucked out by the system oftentimes, or they give us some type of figurehead that really it ain't serving us. They got puppets. And until we can realize the game and own our own healing, they're going to keep us frustrated going through the red tape, and they're going to promise us they're going to help us, but it's going to always set us back even more. And until as a community, we can own our own healing, I just honestly, bro, it's hard for me to trust the system to do anything for us that ain't going to have strings attached or red tape involved to make it worse.
And I agree with you, Mark, but it goes back to where we at. If we don't get involved to make the change is never going to be happening. See, a lot of times right now in this very Black community that we talking about, that's why I say, where's the village at? Everybody's so traumatized from the PTSD and what's taking place, we don't even have faith to move forward. So even if the dynamics change, we in neutral. You talk to Black folks, we can't do this. Why we can't do this? We got to get involved. See, we just want to sit back and complain and say, oh, this is it. I don't care. I'm looking for the dismantlers out there. I'm trying to dismantle systems. I don't care what they say we can't do. I'm going to show them we can do it. But I need some people that's going to march. I need some people that's going to be consistent. I need some people that's ready to go there when it's time to stand up. Because, see, I'm going to tell you about our people. We're talking about the accountability. We don't show up. When it's time to get the work done, we don't show up. When we go to the school boards, I'm going to tell you, because I'm in those meetings, where are the parents at? They don't show up. You get what I'm saying? So if we won't change and we want to advocate for our people, we got to show up. But the ask that we're asking from a legislative point is starting to make some headway, because they see not only is it affecting Black folks, now you got young white kids, you got these young Latin kids, you got these young Asian kids. Mental health is starting to be a real problem across the lanes. But they'll highlight us and make us look like we're the major problem. But now they see we got some real problems. Because the very people that they say aren't the problem, they're watching our culture and they're becoming the problem. You see all of these sideshows in Oakland? It ain't that many black folks out there. I'm going to just tell you right now. But they've picked up what black folks was doing, and now they took it to a whole nother level. But when they arrest the black boys, they going to put him on the face and say he was a part of the sideshow. But they didn't say nothing about the 3 Samoan brothers that beat up the white man out there. They didn't put their faces on the news. I'm just saying. So when we talk about changing the narrative, see, we got to change the narrative by lifting up the voices of the people, because the narrative that they're trying to paint is a black problem. No, America, we got a problem as American people when we talk about violence and mental health. It's starting to affect everybody, okay? These shootings that's happening across the country ain't just black folks. But every time a black folks do it, they go highlight us.
And certain certain venues need to take responsibility for their action. Media got to take responsibility for their actions, because a lot of this reminds me of that scripture. It's like no matter how much sensibility or understanding we give people, how much insight we give them, they're like that scripture. The ox knows its owner, and the ass knows its master crib, but my people do not know. From the sole of the foot even to the head, there is no soundness in them, nothing but wounds, bruises, putrefying sores. So certain elements, I think Brother Larry was saying it earlier, there's certain people we can't help, and we don't know what to do with them. I mean, we don't want to lock them up and put them in institutions, because sometimes our places make people a whole lot worse. But there's certain people that are sensible, that do have understanding, that just need to take responsibility. Like the brother said, some of these sisters making these 100,000, 200,000, you got to start giving back to the community. What you doing in Belgium? Do you know what what you doing I'm going to Europe, I'm going to Dutch. Do you know what the Belgians did to black women during the slave times? What them folks over there ain't appreciating you. You going over there to look at their land. I'm going to Italy. Do you know what certain cultures, certain ethnic groups did to us back in them days? They split the woman in half. That was the fear that they used to put in there. But I'm going to Belgium. I was on the dating site. The sisters say, I'm going to Belgium. I'm like, what you going over there for? For what? Who over there is going to appreciate you? I can see you going to Africa, Jamaica, Haiti, somewhere like that. But I'm just saying, we got to take responsibility for our own lives. We got to take responsibility for, like you said, our families, our community, because it's a family, social, cultural, society upbringing. And individuals need to take responsibility for themselves.
Now, Mike, I got to say this, Mike, because we do have 4 powerful black men here. We got 2 queens here, Mike. But I can't let you say it no more, okay? Yes, there are black women making phenomenal wages in this country. There are educated sisters out of the box in this country. But there's some powerful brothers that's making moves, Mike. We got to uplift the brothers, too, because there's some powerful brothers out there. And I keep telling these sisters, it ain't just about your college degree, because I know a lot of educated fools out here. I'm going to tell you right now, they can't turn a light bulb in for a socket, okay? So I'm going to just tell you like this. There's some brothers making movement around here, but the brothers, the way we uplift each other is we got to support each other. We got to trust each other. We got to lift each other up, because our sisters, they got those opportunities to have their women groups. They have their sessions where they uplifting each other. They're getting businesses started and supporting. But then you get to the brother side. What are we doing? Everybody hating on each other. I don't want to support him because he's doing this. See, I try to support all the brothers, uplift all the business. I give everybody an opportunity. I'm going to build with the brothers. That's what we got to do in our community. We got to build up the brothers of the community so that we can be at the top of the line. Because at the end of the day, we could do all things. We just got to work with each other. We got to uplift each other. We got to keep empowering our young brothers. The sign of hopelessness now. We got to give them the hope. Mike, it's you that give the hope. Larry, it's you that give the hope. Mark, it's you that give the hope. And y'all know the bishop, I'm going to give them the hope. They got to see it. If they want to change the mental paradigm, they got to see the change. We only hopeless because we don't see. When you can't see, you can't believe. And when you can't believe, you can't achieve. So what we bring is the winning mindset to the young brothers. When you got Larry out there letting them know this is what you can do. When you got Mark out there saying this is what you can do, even through the prison sentence, even through the return home, even through the re-earn. But if it's consistency, we can do it. That's what we got to do. Because all the brothers right now, I'm just saying, and this is not a shot at you, Mike, but I hear this all the time. It's like brothers, the sisters, so what? Let them do what they do. What are we going to do? How are we going to uplift each other? I'm tired of black men. We worried about the sisters too much. Let them do what they do. What are we going to do, black men? Let's invest our money together. Let's uplift our businesses. Let's lift each other up so that we can sit at the table. That's the kind of, I'm trying to move forward. I'm a futuristic person. I'm not a historian. I'm about tomorrow. I see what tomorrow can be. We got to come together, black man. We got to help our sisters out. They are achieving, but to that very point, I will say our system, this is why I say, Mark, we got to stay involved because I'm at the table. Larry's at the table. See, I'm in these meetings and I'm always advocating for black men. And sometimes the sisters, they don't be understanding. I have to tell them sometimes, hey, it's a black man in the building. Don't speak for us. You're not a black man. Don't speak for us, all right? And I always have to let them know, y'all, you want to have wraparound services, you want to help the community. All of these cities and counties across this country, they got to stop investing in just the black woman. I'm not saying that the black woman don't need it. Listen to me clearly because I know I'm finna get 1,000 texts. What you mean? Yes, our black women need these services. Yes, our black women need all the support that they could get. But what about the black men? I keep telling these people, y'all only healing one half of the community. You're giving black women access to housing. You're giving them child care. You're giving them education voucher. You're giving them food vouchers. You're giving them transportation. You're giving them mental health services. You give black women everything. But then you want to sit and point the finger at the young brothers on the corner. You want to talk about the gangbang. You want to talk about the shooting. But where's the investment at in the black man? There is some single fathers out there. Where's their housing opportunity? Where's their mental health services at? Where is their food vouchers? You get what I'm saying? See, when you start having those conversations with them, now they thinking. See, when I get in there, that's why they kick me out of all the meetings, because I be in there talking. These sisters get to talk. I say, hold on, sister. It's a black man here. I'm going to speak for the black man. You don't speak for the black man. I'm going to do it. But, sisters, when the brothers show up, see, they always talking about the brothers don't show up. When you show up, y'all got to let us come to the table and come to the table with respect and let us do what we do. Because it is power in the voices of black men. You get what I'm saying? That's why I always appreciate Larry, because Larry always speak up. We in these meetings together. We know the politics and what goes on. But again, if you want to invest in the black community, okay, allies that are watching today, corporations that always doing the performative talk of how we want to bring inclusion and we want to bring diversity and equity to black folks, don't invest in one half of our community. Make sure when you come in to make investment in our community that you're investing in the black women and the black men. I don't know about y'all, but I'm paying attention out there. All right? We got a major stock company that's invested $10 billion into black women startup. I ain't seen them put no money in there for black man startup. And I'm not hating on the sisters. That's great. But that's a 500 S&P company. Where are the S&P companies at for the black men in this community? That's all I'm saying, y'all. Let's be real. Pay attention to what's going on because they love to put the women and highlight them and lift them up. But then the brothers here, they don't know why are we doing the things that we're doing.
Well, it ain't no accident, brother. And if we go back to the whole Willie Lynch letter and some of the systematic ways that they conditioned us to be dealt with, and again, they made the comparison to black folks to horses back then, and they say, you know, you break a black person like you break a horse, and they understood that a domesticated female would raise the offspring to be domesticated, so they had to get the wild male out the picture, because if the male stayed in the picture, he was going to influence the offspring. So systematically, that's how you break horses, systematically through the Willie Lynch process. That's what happened to us during chattel slavery. And when we hadn't dealt with that, we hadn't had no therapy, we hadn't had no healing, and you see that passed on generation after generation, it's easy why now, instead of us being able to recognize the intrinsic God-given value as human beings, men and women, now they can just use money as a tool to leverage a wedge in between us and our own community. And again, we do need to be able to stand up as brothers and hold our own at the table with our women's support and respect. But on the flip side of that, we can't just put anybody at the front to speak for us. We have to vet our brothers, who we gonna put in certain positions, and we have to have the intelligence to know who's fit to be our spokesperson, who's fit to be on the front line when it's time to get dirty, who's gonna fix stuff, who's gonna take care of the food. Like, we have to build a network where we understand everybody's role is important, even if it's different, and everybody can play their part to keep order in our community.
Mark, I agree with you. That's the problem in our community now. We got failed leadership. We got the wrong people speaking for us. They're dying with all of the information. Who's going to pass the torch, Mark, to the young generation? I need some elders that's going to pass the torch to the young generation so they can take the lead, because the leaders that we have now, they're getting stale. Their information is so old. They're not doing the things that they knew to move us forward, Mark. I'm just going to keep it real. Some of our elders need to just take a seat. I'm just going to keep it real.
That damn tabernacle.
Yeah.
Tabernacle need to go on and let it go, man, because they've been holding it down, and it's getting to be like a dry prune. You know what I mean? They sitting out there. Ain't nothing for the neighborhood to benefit off of. But I'm going to say this, man. I'm going to bring it back to the trauma real quick, because I just got to harp on it, because that's something that's real dear to my heart. Because like I said, man, you know, looking at me through this box, you would never know. I opened fire on the police when I was 15 years old. You know what I mean? And there wasn't no mental help about that. I was in honors classes at Burbank. So the thing about it was my lifestyle, the life that I was adhered to every day in the Sunnydale Public Housing Projects, wasn't no hope. Them OG niggas wasn't telling me nothing right. They told me I wasn't shit, wasn't going to be shit. This is how it's supposed to be. Although I hoped it would have been something different. What I saw in the streets was letting me know, like, man, damn, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? And I had a good mama. She tried, but the gravity of being broke and the money pool of the streets won out. I got tired of sharing clothes with my cousin, stretching his clothes out. I was a thick young man. He was skinny. I would wear his clothes out, and I said, I got to find something else to do. He ain't let me wear a sweatsuit to school no more. He went to battle, I went to Burbank, so I had to figure something out. Once they learned I knew how to fight, I got drafted off the block. Now I'm doing work for the big boys, and I'm getting Fila sweatsuits, Adidas. I've got the Chinese bankroll. Couldn't tell me nothing. I thought that's what it was about. But the police beating on me, snatching me off the block, taking me to Harbor Road, kicking me out the car, putting me out on 3rd Street where I damn near get killed trying to run home because I ain't got no car. That's reality, bro. Getting up every day, not knowing if I'm going to come home. My mama can't go to sleep till I come home. That's trauma on a young man who don't even know what kind of life he living his damn self. I put the 9 in my mouth looking out the window on the towers, and I said to myself looking out, what if I wasn't here no more? What would they do? That was like a 10-second episode. I'm like, what the fuck I'm thinking? But it happened. Don't even know why it happened. My mom, they don't know what I'm doing in my room, door closed. I just put it in my mouth just to say, damn. But what if it would have went off? I ain't know. So when we got these dudes out here every day, they 12, 11, 13, they got big backpacks they walking around with, man. Their life is on the line every minute. Ain't nobody out there protecting them. They sleeping on each other's couches, man. They don't even got enough money for a hamburger, but they got AK-47s, they got Glocks, they got grenades, they got all kind of lethal weapons, but they ain't even got no money to go buy no shoes. And I see the truth in them. When I pull up on them, they can't lie to me. I know all them guns in the vacant house, but I ain't your enemy. And when they used to tell me, well, nigga, you did it. My daddy told me what you did. I saw you do this. I saw you do that. They used to trump me. Because I used to be like, damn, am I still him? Like, because it's facts. But sometimes facts can be misleading when used the wrong way. So when I'm out here saying, man, trauma can go deep into just that nigga family crazy. They ain't taking their medicine. He out there talking to himself. Don't trip. No. What about the kids that's on honor roll that's following niggas who don't know and they being led by their peers who dropped out of school in the 6th and 7th grade? They highly influenced, but they alphas. And they smart, but their life is wrecked, bro. So economically, systematically, it's the lifestyle that leads to behaviors that get attributed to trauma disorders, but it's not nothing about the trauma of the mental. The mental is there. It's the physical that they're exposed to, The exposing of the physical life, the daily struggles, watching your mama cry, not knowing what's going on, seeing eviction notices, having to pay them at 12 years old, not even knowing how to get a money order, but you got cash. Imagine now. You know what I mean? So when I go to talk to them, I got to sit behind, I got to get on that side of the conversation. Like, what was it like to be that dude before I approach that dude? Because I can't just come to him with this good job, working for Mercy Housing, everybody know me, I'm all popular. Man, that ain't what they're trying to talk to. They want to talk to dude that they remember and find out, pick his brain. So I got to adjust in that framework of art when I talk to him to understand what he's dealing with. You got to know the clicks. Some of these young men is running things on the block 13 years old. And you got to respect that stature. But guess what? You got to still drill to them who they can be. Because when they go home at night and put the gun up, they think they're not just animals. They go home, but when they come outside in the jungle, they got to put the suit on. Because if they don't, they're going to get ate. Because that's going on every day. When they leave the neighborhood, every day. Instagram promotes it. Instagram Live promotes it. Sharing your location promotes it. Find me, kill me. Oakland don't care what they do out there. Frisco, they go out there, they just kill each other or shoot at each other. They don't go to jail for it. So you got to understand what they've created now. It's a model. And these young men is out there exposed to it. And that's the machine we fighting. Last thing I'm going to say, I had a commissioner look me in the face, white man, say, Larry, you always speak for Sunnydale. Why are you the only one I see? I couldn't really answer that, but the Negro in me said, I speak for everybody. When you see me, you see them, right? The audacity of him to speak that truth to me because, John, you know, we always the only ones there. I went to North Beach just to see a real town hall meeting because they voted a 99 percentile. We voted an 8 percentile. That's why we don't get no respect from the politicians when they get elected. They go to Chinatown, North Beach, the Marina, because that's where their votes come from, right? I went to North Beach. I saw an overflow room. They stopped Walmart from coming in their neighborhood just by showing up. I said, damn, I wish we could do that. But I had to go there to see that maybe it can be 400 people on the voter roll and more than 9 people come vote. That can happen. You know what I mean? Because it's frustrating to us that's out there trying to battle this monster. When we see things like that send us home and say, fuck it. I go home like that at least 5 times a week. And I got to go to sleep and wake up like, you know what? Come on, Dime. It's a big field out there. We got to go play. It's 4th and goal all the time. Get back up. Because sometimes mentally we be drained, bro. So mental health can go into the working field. It can go into us trying to do the help. It's levels of the mentality. You know what I mean? And so that being said, I ain't heard from Miss Charisma in a while, and I really know she's a very deep woman. She's sucking it up, but she's one of them sisters that's processing. She's a chemist. I want to know, tell us something, Miss Charisma, please.
Okay, so I want to go back to what Coley said about having a mental health professional that's also Black. I feel like when we go to a therapy session, it's like we're thinking that they're going to give us something to help us. Like we're always thinking about, okay, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? But it's really about the work that you are doing. When you're sitting there and you're telling them about your experience, whether they be Black, white, Asian, Latino, whatever race they are, when you're telling them what your experience is, you are helping yourself, but you just don't know it yet. Because when you're talking about what your experience is, and they're asking you these little questions along the way, like, why do you think that is? Well, where do you think that you got that from? Well, why do you feel that way? When you're answering all these questions, you're answering the questions internally that you know already, but you speaking it out loud, it's making you realize like, wow, I never thought of it like that. Wow, I didn't even know that I had that in there. So it's unlocking all of these doors that you felt like you didn't have the key to, but they were inside of you all along. But that's the thing about it is that you have to keep going. You have to do the work. When you continuously go week after week, even if it's only 30 minutes, even if you have to pay, it's worth it, because these are things that you wouldn't get from, talking to one of your family members, possibly talking to one of your friends, because they might not have the best feedback for you because they're biased. They're your friend. They're going to tell you what makes you comfortable. But you have the answers all along. We're very intuitive as a people. We're very intuitive. So all the answers that we think that we don't know, they're inside of us, but we just need an outlet to see what's inside of us. So I feel like when we go to therapy, we're able to look at ourselves and we're able to say, this is why I behave this way. We can identify, this is what happened in my childhood, and that's why in this type of situation, this is happening. So I definitely see where you're coming from, colleagues, but it's all about us doing the work at the end of the day, because therapy is not only in that 30-minute session. It's outside of that. It's what you put into motion in your everyday life. Because I've been there as well. I have my daughter. My daughter's 3. I'm 28. I've been through a lot. Even though I'm young, I've been through a whole lot of life. I've been married. I've been divorced. I graduated. I'm working. I'm a single mother. There's a whole bunch of aspects. I battled with depression myself. I went to therapy after my relationship with my ex-husband. Went to therapy. I was like, there's no way I'm emotionally available to go out and jump into a relationship just because I feel lonely. Let me go to therapy and try to heal and sit still. And a lot of people are not doing that. We're not still. So that we can't heal when we're not still. We're all doing all this moving, feel like, okay, let me get my mind off this. Let me go do this. Let me go do that. But we got to sit with ourselves and think about, okay, what happened here? When a relationship between two people ends, you have to think about, okay, what happened on my part? What went wrong? How can I, going forward, make sure that this doesn't happen again? How can I heal? How can I be better? So that's what I was doing. I did the work myself, and I can tell you from experience, me going to the therapy sessions week after week, there was a point where when I started, I was battling my depression, and I was just like, I can't do this. There's no way I can do this. This is my life now. This is what it is. But week after week, as I kept going, and she was saying, well, you can do this, you can do that. There's a way that you can still, have a life outside of this. There's a way that you can do this. But at first I was saying, I can't do this. There's no way. I was coming up with all these excuses about why I couldn't do it. But eventually I started to see that I was holding myself back. It was me. And so when she started to tell me, giving me some ideas and some alternatives about what I could do, and I started actually doing that, I was like, wow, it was me all along. Like, I had the answer. I had the key. And it was just me going to therapy that helped me unlock those doors. So I ended up getting out of that depression. A lot of the time they try to give you medication. If you go see a psychiatrist, they try to prescribe you different medications. But in the end, you don't really need the medication. You have to just be receptive to the therapy, because a lot of the answers that you need, you already have all those answers. We're intuitive as a people. We just got to tap into the knowledge that we already have. And going to therapy is going to help you tap into that. So I definitely am a huge advocate for that, because now I'm healthy. I used to, there were so many things that I used to do that were unhealthy. When I got into the relationship with my ex-husband, I was 19, 20 years old. I used to like when men were mean to me. And I had to figure out, why is that? Why is that I like that? It's because of the relationship that I had with my father, who was emotionally unavailable. But because I went to therapy, I'm able to recognize that. And going forward, I'm saying, no, that's a red flag. I don't like when somebody is disrespectful to me. I don't like when they're mean to me. So it's just work that we have to do as a people. But definitely, I'm a huge advocate of therapy. It worked for me. I encourage everybody to go. So
Charisma, I like that. That's very deep. But the one spot that I got to push back on is about the prescription drugs. Okay, because Black folks, we got to have it saying, prescription drugs and medicine doesn't help us. And I have to push back a little bit, because I want to say there are people in our community who needs the chemical drugs to imbalance their health. So I never wanted, and it's nothing I don't want you to take it the wrong way, but I have to say that because we know there are people in our community that have a real chemical imbalance. And when those folks get the medication, total different person. I'm just telling you, I've seen it. And a lot of times we get that balance. And I've seen folks in our community take the medication and do better. Then they got the flip reserve. Now they normal. They like, oh, I don't want to take this no more. But now the reality is different. But I don't, and I'm not going to say that it's for everybody. I'm just saying that we have to also acknowledge that there are people in our community who actually need the medication. We just got to be real, because a lot of people, they run for it. And I can keep telling people, if you need a pill and a prayer, go ahead. Whatever it takes to make you normal. If it's pill and a joint, go ahead. Whatever it is, I'm not discriminating. Get the help you need to create that balance. All right. Now, years ago, I used to be, don't do this though. But now I understand whatever it is for you, And that's why I say go seek the professional help. Because some people, if they do their lab work, they are chemically imbalanced. And it's just what it is. And I've seen those people, soon as they get subscribed to their medication, whole different person. They walking around smiling, they happy, but then they don't like who they become. Larry, they start throwing the pills away.
Hey, John.
Well, I would not say that I'm against medication, because I actually work for a biopharmaceutical company. So I'm definitely not against medication, but I will say that it most likely should be used for a last resort type of thing. If talk therapy is not helping, then you got to just keep going to the levels. But, it eventually gets there, but I wouldn't say that that's the first thing that they should try versus trying to talk and get to the bottom of what the situation is.
I would agree with you.
John, excuse me. Go ahead, real quick. Something just happened in the neighborhood. I just got a text. I love y'all. I got to go, bro. So I'll talk to you later. I got to get out of here. Something just
no problem. Go ahead, Larry. Go ahead.
Y'all. Khalees, I'll talk to y'all in a minute.
Right. Go ahead, Larry. Be safe out there, Larry. Be safe out there.
Sister, right, we're very intuitive. Also, there's powerful settings that if they're set up or if they're in their natural nature, let's say that, like families, barbecues, you know what I mean? Community block parties, things like that. I've been seeing gangsters, hardcore dudes come to different settings and just break down, start crying because they felt that love. People was going up to them, you want food? You know how you doing? What's going on? People sitting down, they playing cards. Them are settings that offer healing also. Them group settings where we all at the park and ain't no shootings, ain't no fighting, even if it is fighting. So what? At least they hand fighting. They ain't shooting, you know what I mean? And them kind of settings, they offer healing too. And I had a couple of spiritual experiences myself in our own community because I used to sell dope in West Oakland in the 80s. And when I went back in 2000 and seen all that homelessness, God wouldn't let me walk away from that. So he broke me down right there on my knees. He said, that's you right there. You caused all this. That's you. And it's settings like that if you in your space, if you in your spiritual, if you ain't, distorted, corrupt, bent all out of shape, and you can see and you starting to love yourself and love your people a little bit, there's settings that'll heal you. You know what I'm saying? They heal people. And that event right there, it took me to another whole place about loving my community and loving my people, because some of the brothers and sisters that I seen out there that was homeless, I actually knew them. And it was like, Mike, you sold that brother all that dope. That's why he out here. That's why them $800,000 Victorian homes are gone right now in West Oakland, is because you was selling this dope to them. And so that experience for me, it fell back on me, but it was something that I needed to go through because it was a heart-changing experience. And sometimes these brothers need to go through these heart-changing experiences. Even in therapy, sometimes in group therapies, they'll put a coffin in the group. And so the person can experience some kind of feeling from that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times the settings that we are involved in, the social settings and the people that we are around, we need to create that type of setting for brothers. They go to church, don't be pushing them up there to the minister. You go to church, don't be just getting their offering for them. When they come to church, give them love. How you doing, brother? We going to eat after this. You want to roll with us? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? That creates healing. But a lot of times these experiences that we go through, it creates more trauma because you like, I don't know what you up to. I can't trust you because your vibe is off. You know what I'm saying? So we need settings also that heal. Like the sisters said, we're very intuitive. And a lot of times we don't want to go to these therapists because it's a trickster thing. I went to a therapist. He told me to get out of his office. I was in San Francisco. A counselor sent me in San Francisco to Columbus Street. And I was telling him what's going on. And he said, get out of my office. He said, you ain't going through nothing anybody else is going through. That's how they roll sometimes. Wow. So a lot of times we setting ourselves up when we go into these therapy places, seeing a therapist, because these people, some of them ain't right. Some of them ain't sure. They got these degrees, but sometimes a lot of them, they bent on some white supremacy, some other form of weirdness that's going on with them.
I agree with you. I think, that's very important. I'm glad you said that, Mike, because I'm always about that. You can ask my team, any event, anything that we do, the first thing I tell them is check your energy at the door. You get what I'm saying? Anything I do for the people, the first thing I tell my own team, check your energy at the door. If you're not happy, you're not in a good place, something ain't right, because the experience is everything. We can't bring Black people to us if we got attitude and we being rude. It don't work like that. So I don't even allow that energy around what we do. So I get you on that. But I think one of the things that I wanted to highlight before I give it to you, Mark, what Charisma said, I think was so powerful because she was able to articulate and walk you through what that change looked like. And I hope community caught what she was saying, because at the end of the day, I keep telling people, there's a lot of people talking about doing self-work, doing the work, but we're not translating that to the community, what it looks like. And I just love Charisma for putting that out there, what that work looks like, what that process is, because you got people out here all day talking about mental health, and I'm doing the work, I'm getting trauma, I'm going through all this, but they're not really telling the community. So when you got somebody who haven't done the work, and you don't have somebody that don't know how to connect, and they like, well, what do you do? What does it look like? How do I know if I have the right therapist? You get what I'm saying? So we got to also make sure when we're talking about doing this mental health work, this self-care work, we have to really be able to display what that looks like. See, I go to therapy too. Every time I go to therapy, the first thing I do is I start crying, and then I take all the tissue out of the tissue thing, I throw it up in there. See, first 15 minutes, I got to let it out of me. I got a lot of rage. And then the work happened. They sit there and she asked me the question, John Harry, what's wrong with you? Why you come in here like this every time? Because I got a build up. You get what I'm saying? When Charisma was talking about this buildup of these energies, like Mark was saying, like Larry was saying. See, I know what Larry going to deal with right now. Another incident in our community. You start bringing in all of these energies. We dealing with folks who losing their babies, the violence. We're in the community. This is happening. We got Black folks doing this. People be like, you start having all of that, right? And we got to be the strong people with the armor, like Larry was saying. We got to have the armor on. Because I got to keep my mind in a way that I can be able to receive the people and what they're going through. So I got to have that armor on every day. So when I get that minute to talk to my therapist, I got to let it out. I'm taking the tissue. I'm throwing it up in there. I got to get it all out. What is this? She said, what is this every time you do this? This is my way. You know what I'm saying? Now after that, we can talk. Let's talk about some things. You get what I'm saying? But like you said, Mike, all the therapists ain't right? But what you do is you take the tools. I think that's what Charisma was hitting on. You just take the tools and put them in your toolbox and you utilize them, whether it's coping skills, if it's just things to identify when you're ruminating, because a lot of this stuff is in our subconscious mindset. So yes, Charisma's right. You're doing everything you need to heal yourself through these people, but all they giving you is tools. You have to identify the tools that work for your triggers. Some people is that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I know when I'm tripping, I start ruminating. I start saying the same thing over and over. I'm like, I'm having a moment. I gotta take a deep breath because I'm about to go there. You know what I'm saying? See, last week, Dante, it's because of you. My mental health been shattered all weekend. But now I'm back. I'm back. Brother Mark, go ahead and jump in here, Mark.
Oh God, there's so much I could jump on. First of all, I just want to say thank you again to everybody, and especially for the people who are speaking up, the ones who are stepping out, the ones who are putting in the work, because oftentimes the strong ones don't get asked or checked on how they're doing. And I think some of us get so caught up in trying to hold up a strong front because we know if we let ourselves go, all the people that are depending on us and watching us, it may cause them to falter. So we hold a lot of stuff in. And I just want to make sure that we acknowledge those people. Like, we care. It's okay. You're human. And yeah, like Brother Mike said, some of these people that have these titles and positions, everybody ain't authentic. Everybody ain't right. But it doesn't mean we don't need to acknowledge mental health as a real issue. And finding what works for you may be a process of trying a couple of different options, but just finding people that care and then valuing the investment in yourself. There is nothing more important than what goes on between your ears. You literally become what you think about. That is a phrase that I heard said to me in an audiobook years ago, and it has always stuck with me. And the thing that I want anybody to be okay acknowledging is taking care of your physical health, when something's wrong, you go to a doctor, there's no shame in that. Same thing with your mental health. There's no shame in it. If you need help, the best investment you can do for yourself is get the help, because people gonna talk. They gonna have to say what they gotta say, but we can't let what's on the outside be more important than how we treat and value ourselves internally. And again, a problem can't be solved at the same level it's created. So a lot of us can't even see our own issues. Find somebody in your circle that you respect and that you trust that can, hey, pull your coattail when, hey, maybe you need to get this checked out. And it may be a therapist for some people. It may be an elder. It may be a church member. It may be somebody that you just have designated as a partner that, hey, we're going to check in on each other. But making this normal and acceptable in our community is going to help us move forward. So again, I appreciate y'all just having the conversation.
Man, I also wanted to sorry about that. I wanted to touch on the trauma bond situation that we have going on in our community as well, because I feel like a lot of the time we are jumping into relationships with other people who have unhealed trauma and then inflicting pain on one another because we're not dealing with, what's going on inside of us. So in turn, in our relationship that shows up, I had made a post on my Facebook page the other day saying that, I refuse to get in a situation that's codependent. Of course, I want a partner. I want somebody to do life with. I want to ultimately be with somebody, but I'm not going to be in a situation where there's codependency. And I feel like we don't understand what codependency means, and that it's a negative thing to where one person is sacrificing and giving everything just to stay in a situation with another person that's not beneficial to them. If two people are not both benefiting from the situation and it's not an interdependent relationship, then you got to end that relationship. I think in our community, a lot of times we're not doing the work and we're coming together, and we got two people that's always at each other and then creating kids and having those kids grow up in that situation. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and it all starts with ourselves, and that goes along with the mental health piece. And so when I'm talking to these different people, because I am on the dating scene right now, one of the things that I look at and a person that I look at as a potential partner is, have you been to therapy? What was your childhood like? Who did you grow up with? What type of influence were your parents in your home? Like, how did your parents interact with each other? How do you treat your mother? How's your relationship with your mother? All these different things that we need to be asking. We're not asking those things. We have to take the time and vet people properly so that we could demonstrate what a healthy relationship looks like, especially if we have children. So I just wanted to touch on that because it's such a big issue. Like, we just go ahead and jump into other situations. We're not ready. We're not healed, and we're just jumping into situations to fill that void. We got to stop doing this.
Well, Charisma,
I'm single, and I can answer some of them questions. How did I grow up? I'm single. How did I grow up?
Hold on, Mike. You gotta say that for the relationship show, Mike. We can't give it up to the community now. See,
Mike shooting the shot.
Yeah, he cheated. You giving him too much. We gotta let him come back. See, community. This is why I believe in this work. When we talk about communication, I believe there's a healing process that happens with communication. And I know as we start bringing Charisma up here for our Sunday conversation, yes, community, she's going to be here with us. We're going to have some powerful conversations. Yes, community, we bringing Mark back for this relationship conversation because I think in the Black community, the trauma and the pain that we dealing with, they're selling it. Like Mike said earlier, they're selling it on the TV. So we're buying into this trauma. We're buying into this reality TV. And I heard Charisma say it's about balance. We're this 50-50 mindset, this 100, like, it's balance. And we got to have those real conversations. I think the only way, and I think Mikey was jumping in there, but the only way we really change the paradigm in the next generation of Black love, Black relationships, is we do need to have a conversation to educate the young women and the brothers on what to ask. Because there's no class in our community that really teaches us how to date. And I'm gonna just tell you, some of the parents and the grandparents, the terrible information that they tell these women about dating is just terrible. Where is all the dating coaches at? We got all these life coaches, we got all these marriage coaches. I said we need a dating coach to come teach these young brothers and women how to date, what questions to ask. How do you know if you're with the right person? You get what I'm saying? But we're going to have that conversation here at both sides of the conversation. It's coming. We're going to get Mike and Mark and Charisma back. It's getting hot. And this is a conversation that we need to happen because we know it's hot girl summer is approaching. And we got to talk to these hot girls before the summer kick off.
That's all right. They getting ready to drop that Freaknik special. So it's a whole bunch of people about to get some dating lessons on what to do and what not to do. So yeah, we can have that conversation because they don't want. Some people just don't want to listen to sound advice if it don't make them feel good. And I think dating and mental health is connected so strongly that this actually is part of the conversation. Because yeah, you need to check because some people got some triggers from their past, some stuff they done been through, some black box issues that if you get into a relationship with them and you don't know that, you can get yourself attached to somebody who got some real demons in their closet. And when it come out on you, you're going to wish you would have asked them questions before. And yeah, Mark, we have to have that conversation.
That's why I say I'm single as well. I gotta be careful. You can't be rushing into stuff. You gotta take your time. Ladies, be patient out there. Don't be trying to jump into an exclusive relationship. Let me get to know who you are first. I don't want to bring this into my
I was blessed. I was blessed, man, to have a good therapist and two therapists. I had a male and a female. But what really helped me was it was a group called Positive Direction out of Oakland. A brother had started it. It was about 15 members. And man, them brothers placed so much responsibility on me. When I talked about my family, they didn't let stuff slide. Oh, well, I ran the streets because, no, brother, straighten that up. Why was you really out there? You know what I mean? What about your brothers? You the oldest, and what about your brothers? How do they feel? You didn't even get a chance to play basketball with your brother because you was too busy in and out of jail and prison. What about that? That's the kind of brothers that was getting at me, and that's the and I couldn't escape that. What's no excuses for that when you got men coming at you like that and you got to take responsibility for your life, you can't run from that. And it's about 15 of them too, and they OGs and some of them are young. They didn't heard all that stuff, so you can't be saying no, you got to tell the truth. But it helped me to face who I am and what I lack, my defects. It helped me to look at, okay, Mike, you are irresponsible. You know what I mean? Okay, Mike, you did do that. You know what I'm saying? I had to face them. I had to look at myself from a true direction and make some changes,
Man, definitely powerful stuff. That's why I believe in mentorship. I believe these healing circles work. And I think the young brothers in the community, that's what they need, more accountability. But again, like I always say here at both sides of the conversation, we must connect before we correct. Elders, listen to me. We must connect before we correct. The only way we're going to change this in our community is we have to connect with the very people in our community. So, I just think that that's what we have to do. And, it's just being real. But with that being said, we are at time. I got to get out of here. I'm getting text messages. Y'all going over. See, when the conversation get good, see, I told y'all the 2 hours is going to fly by. It doesn't take that long. But before we go, like we do every show, we want to make sure that all of our panelists today give away some parting words, some shout outs, whatever you want to do. If you want to promote your business, this is your time before you get out of here today. So we're just going to move around and give everybody an opportunity to give away some parting words to our community about mental health. If you want to shout out any businesses or any programs or anything that you're working on or doing, this is your opportunity. And then we go close out today's show with a benediction. But with that being said, Charisma, give some parting words to the queen. You're so knowledgeable. See what happened when you tap into the eye. The energy of the community changed instantly. Go ahead, Charisma.
Yeah. I just want to say, first of all, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate being in this space and just hearing different perspectives from a lot of y'all. And I just want to say thank you for watching, everybody who's watching. If you want to go support me, I am doing a lot of work over on TikTok. I join panels like this all the time, and I do have my own TikTok page at the link below, Science Bay Official. I'm on Instagram as well, on Facebook, Charisma Jones. I do my own thing too on my personal Facebook page. I have lives every Wednesday at 9 p.m. And that's kind of like kind of like conversations like these, kind of open-ended conversations, anybody could join, things like that. If you ever want to talk to me on my page, holla, let me know. I will be doing other work as well too, but for now, that's all I have. Thank you so much, and see y'all next Sunday.
Man, thank you, Charisma. We're looking forward to working with you. Please go check out her lives. She has some interesting conversation. She is the science babe. Fellas, do not be coming in her inbox unless you're ready. If you haven't did the work, if you ain't did your trauma, don't be coming at the science babe. All right? Thank you, Charisma. We happy you here. Looking forward to seeing you on some of these Sunday conversations. And we'll see how we're going to connect this and really continue to build out the community. But we will definitely support you in all the work that you're doing. Continue being a blessing to the community. Continue to be a blessing to your child, and continue just lead by example. We always say here, leadership is about demonstrating what's possible. You're doing that. Young people, if you want to get in STEM, reach out to Miss Charisma Jones. She'll talk to you about how to get into the bio market, okay? All right, with that being said, my brother, Mike D, go ahead, brother. Holler at the people.
Heart and soul, peer support. We're looking for seeing through stigma is a part of heart and soul. It's seeing through stigma, advocating to eliminate stigma. We're looking for speakers. It's in San Carlos. You can just call the Hope Heart and Soul Hope program in San Carlos in Burlingame. I do appreciate you guys, man. I learned a lot. Brother Mark, thank you for your strength, man. I appreciate you too. I appreciate you, sisters. I appreciate the sister Karina. This helped me because I don't speak on media that much. So this helped me. I learned a lot about myself on here. It's hard. I don't know how you do it, John. I mean, shoot, I get nervous and my hair be standing up on the back of my neck. You know what I'm saying? My eyes start spinning and everything. Man, this was a good training for me, and I appreciate y'all. Thank you for inviting me.
Man, very powerful stuff. I just lift my hands up. I get nervous too. This is funny because I go to these events, Mark. I just went to this conference and speak, and it's like, they like, John, you always on the platform. How are you nervous? But sometimes you get nervous, but you just say, Lord, speak through me and I'll speak through the people. And he always lift me up and get me through. So, hey, I'm glad that this opened it up for you because we need you to get a platform going. Like I tell people, I'm not a hater. I need more people. As long as you're giving the great message and the great information to our community, I want it. But Mike, you are part of the both sides of the conversation family, brother. Anytime you want to come back and say something, be a part of some of these conversations. We open the door to all of our people because we know this stuff works, man. There's a healing component with this communication stuff. So thank you for being here today, changing the narrative. Thank you for being a brother, being vulnerable, speaking up, and giving your perspective to today's conversation, because somebody out there is going to take something that everyone said here today, and they're going to pick something and apply to their life. So I think that was great. And Mike, anything that we can do to help support you when you got events, please send it over to us. Any digital flyers, we'll make sure we help get it out to the community to make sure folks know what you got going on, brother. Appreciate you. All right. With that being said, Mark, the pastor. Everything. The man of all. He's been through it all. He's been through all emotions. He's here today. Brother, go ahead.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, John, man, thank you, Sister Khalees. Thank you again for the amazing service that y'all do for the community, and just allowing the brother an opportunity to come and be part of the conversation. As far as the topic on mental health, let me just encourage everybody watching. There is no shame. You deserve to have the strongest, healthiest, most vibrant mental environment possible. You owe that to yourself. So if you need to get a therapist, if you need medication, whatever you need, if you need to find a brother just to call on the phone, a sister to sit and talk, do it. Your greatest investment is your own mental health. So I just want to put that out to everybody. And for those who are more of a do-it-yourself type, I try to give something that's tangible. If you want to improve the quality of your life, then raise the bar. And I always say the bar is a 3-letter acronym for belief, action, results. If the results in your life are not satisfying to you, then look at your actions, because your actions give you your results. And if you want to understand your actions, then examine your beliefs. If you want to change the results, you got to change your beliefs. And that's why your mental health is so important. And you actually have the power to shape your own belief system. What's happening to you may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. for you to get it to where you want it to be. So work on your beliefs. That'll influence your actions, and better actions will always get you better results. So with that, Brother John, I say thank you, and I'll give it back to you.
Man, I say thank you, King, for being here. Ladies of the community, y'all keep saying, where's the brothers? Mark is the top tier. Did y'all see the game that he just dropped? Look at all them jewels. This is what I be telling y'all, man. There'll be some knowledge getting kicked around here. Brother Mark, we appreciate you being here because, again, you always bring that sound, defining perspective. You stand in your square, brother, and you speak for the brothers and the people, man, and your testimony is so powerful. So thank you again for being here. We always honor when you come in this space, and the rest of the brothers. My guy Larry had to take off, but you brothers mean a lot to not only me, but to the community because y'all real, you're authentic. You know what I'm saying? And y'all got y'all pet under control. He came with the bars. I'm coming with the pet. Control your pet, community. That's your pride, your ego, and your trauma. Let's go. We'll control our pets out here. But Brother Mark, thank you for being here again. And we're going to get you back for the relationship show. We're going to make sure we work a time that works for you because you got to be back for those conversations. We'll have a couple of segments of it. And, just thank you again, brother, for being who you are, being the king that you are, being the leader, and, just being that change maker that we need and uplifting your voice and change that narrative, brother. So thank you. And we're looking forward to seeing you soon, King.
Thank you. Y'all be blessed.
All right. Love you, brother. All right. To my co-host that's doing the most, Sister Khalees. Go ahead and wrap it up, Queen. I know you got a good wrap up. Go ahead and wrap it up today.
Wow. I must say today has been a very quiet day for me. Hey, you all have hit some good points in this conversation. Charisma, all I could do is say charisma. She took Unequally Yoked to a whole nother level. I'm telling you, you got a lot of questions to add to your list when you're single out here. But I tell you, you do need to unravel all that trauma and past hurt that you've gone through. So myself, today was a huge eye-opener because charisma nailed a few things. Consistency. You have to continue to go. See, me, I'll stop. No, you have to continue to go so that you can unravel all that trauma and so that these therapists can help you dig deep into the core places where these things have hidden themselves. So along with John, talking about he had taken all the people Kleenex and going in there crying. So he's letting me know, get ready, because I'm a very emotional, passionate person. And so I'm gonna have to take me a case of Kleenex in there when I schedule these consistent visits, community, because that's what's gonna happen. Mark, he has dropped so many gems. I'm talking about you have to know what you're dealing with, right? And as Mark shared, he is a very, very knowledgeable person that I enjoy interacting, as well as Larry, Mike D. These panelists that came onto this conversation today have done nothing but encourage me. Between last week, trauma bonding, and this week, mental health. Come on, community, do it for yourself. You don't have to have health insurance to get some help. There's free services out there. And we shared that information earlier in the show. But I'm telling you, today has been very inspiring and encouraging for me, myself, with all the trauma and things that we face, relationships, and just dealing with people when you're managing folks. We need help. We all need help. So today was a great conversation. I enjoyed it. And I will be, trust me, community, I'm going back and I'm going to be consistent with it this time.
Wow, that's powerful. If one person changed, they say the community changed. And I'm just happy that the connections are being made in our community. We are feeling it. And I've just learned a lot too. And I just thank you all for being here today and having this conversation, putting up with the bishop. Okay. You're always putting up with the bishop, but definitely we have to have the therapy. We have to have the healing and all of that stuff in our community because it is real. And that's very powerful what you said, Khalees. And again, it's never a point. And I always hear people say, I'm healed. You're never healed because there's always work that continues to happen. We have to continue to build up those tools to defeat the things that's going to come at us because they're always going to be triggers. They're always going to be tests. And those coping skills is very important to get through, but you have to continue to unleash because every day there's new things coming in us that we got to get out of us. And sometimes we don't even understand how they're impacting us. So with that being said, community, it is time for the bishop to give the benediction. I know y'all like, hurry up, bishop, get us out of here. I'm going to keep it short today because I don't know. I just feel like everybody's saying hurry up for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's my mental state of mind. I don't know. But I will leave us with the benediction. So, with that being said, community, you have been blessed today. Today has been powerful. I don't know where you at, where you watching from, but I just know that there's some energy out there that's moving the people. When we talk about mental health, there's an awakening happening in our community. People are tapping into the ancestors. They are tapping into the higher spirit. They are feeling something inside of them that is spewing that they got to get help. Sometimes that help, sometimes that sign is all of the things that's inside of us, the stuff that's in our subconscious mind that is making us feel like we're antsy, making us feel like we can't move. We got to reach out to somebody. Today is the day you got to reach out, get a therapist, find you a provider, somebody that you can confide in. You got to have a conversation. See, the only way to true healing is you have to get it off your chest. If you just holding it in, you are the very volcano that's going to erupt. You might be the next person that's going to do something that's going to harm somebody because you haven't dealt with your trauma. Today, you have heard from a generation of wealth. Today, this was a wealthy meeting. You heard from the young lady, Charisma, talking about the patience, the understanding, the things that we need to do. She gave you a walkthrough community. What that healing journey looks like. She talked about her ups and downs, going through the divorce, going through being a single parent, going to school, still achieving. Community, you still can achieve, even through the mental health issues, even through the pain, even through the trauma. You can make it, but you have to be open. You have to be willing. You have to say something is wrong and something is not right. I got to get this out of me. I got some things in me that I need to get out. I don't know. Maybe it's crying it out. Maybe it's throwing up the tissue. I don't know what's going to work for you, but you must tap into your needs. You must find what works for you. It might be a healing circle. It might be one-on-one. It might be the medication. I don't know. But for you, you must go and find out. You have to be the seeker. There's no mind readers in our community. I don't know what you're going through. There are signs, but are you open? If I see the sign, are you open to take the very information that you need to get to where you need to be? Because I'm going to tell you, it feels good to get those tears out. It feels good to relieve that pain and trauma. It feels good when you like, woo, something was taken off my chest. I don't know. Brother Mike came in here and talked about the different situations, the pain, the harm, the things that he's caused in the community to have their realization that this is why I need to fix the problem. Sometimes in life, we are the people that go through the process that causes the pain. We inflict it on others, and then we come back and we feel that, and then we have to change it. That's changing an area. So shout out to Brother Mike for the work that he's doing and the recognition of what's taking place and how to give back. That's what it's all about. And then you heard from my brother, Mark. Oh, he was talking about the belief system that we have to change. See, sometimes you got to change people, places, and things. And sometimes you have to change the belief systems if you really want to have impact, if you really want to make sure that you're going and you're evolving and you're growing. The real conversations have to keep happening. You have to stand on your square and be prepared to go to war with the enemy. Spiritual warfare is happening right now. Something is in your mind trying to shift you. I don't know. Find it. Reach out to somebody. Get behind it. Change is possible. You have to have trust. First, you got to be willing. It's like addiction. You got to be willing to say, I have a problem before we can resolve them. Then we have my guy, Larry Mac 10. Y'all know we love Larry. He was here today in presence, keeping it real. See, sometimes these conversations get a little triggering. Sometimes they get a little colorful, but at the end of the day, we are creating space to be authentic, to be your realness, to be yourself. Larry gave you the trauma, the things that he was taught, the things that he didn't know. Fatherhood. Wow. The brother said today he felt he was being jealous of his own children. How powerful is that? How many of you out there is struggling with the jealousy of your child because they have things that you didn't have? They have a dad that you didn't have. They got opportunities that you didn't have. See, sometimes that pain, that trauma of growing up poor and disenfranchised, sometimes we work hard to get out of the pit and give our children everything. And then we turn around and envy the very things that they have because we didn't get. See, that's a mental check right there. Check off your list. Sometimes we got to find out, why are we so angry with our children? Why do we dislike our children? Why? Is it because the very things that we didn't have? I don't know. But the conversation has started. If Larry could be a man and admit what he was going through, he had to check himself. Maybe you today you might need to check yourself. Maybe if you check yourself and correct yourself and connect with your child, maybe you can tap in. Maybe you are the change for their mental health. I don't know. But if you start doing the work, I guarantee you things will change. Nothing will stay the same. As long as you can be open, you can be vulnerable, and you are willing to take the steps, change will happen. Today, you've heard from a panel of amazing people. Some people that's doing some work. Okay, so therapy is okay. Y'all heard the bishop. If I could sit in there and cry, you can too. I don't know if you need a black therapist. I don't know if you need a white therapist. All I know is there's some healing that's in front of you. Find what you need. Maybe it's a pill and a prayer. I don't know. Maybe it's a joy in the prayer. I don't know. Whatever it is you need, find it for yourself today. Today is the day. Take a second to reflect. Go back and watch some of today's show. Find out what you need to do to help your community, help your family move forward. Sometimes the very problem is our own self. Maybe if you seek help, somebody next to you seek help. Leadership is about demonstrating what's possible. To all my community leaders, let's demonstrate what's possible. Let's go check in. Let's do the internal work, not the external medical care. Let's do the internal care, that mental health care. Let's bring sound minds to the community. Maybe we'll have more peace and unity. Maybe we'll have more humility and compassion. I don't know. I'm just saying, let's try something new. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in and being patient with the bishop today. I'm going to call my therapist tomorrow. I need some more tissue because I know we got issues in our community. I know I'm dealing with it. I'm dealing with the demons every day. I need a new box of tissue, community, because I'm going to cry with you. Let's cry together. Mental health is okay. We're going to make this a new day. Mental health is okay. Nothing's wrong with you. It's okay. We all deal with it. We'll heal together. Let's do it as a community. Let's heal together. We'll create our own group. Let's heal together. Let's find some ways that we can do the things that we need to do to be better off for our people. With that being said, our next live show is this Tuesday. We'll have another segment of our hidden gems at 7 o'clock. Tune in. See some of the new businesses in your community. See some of the new leaders in your community. This hidden gem show, I just love it. Every Tuesday, that's the day to find out what's great going on in the community. This Thursday, we're going to have a great Educational Thursday presentation. I won't be there, okay? I'll be out somewhere. I'm going somewhere I don't know. But Khalees will be here. The team will be here. You'll see our both sides of the conversation team. They'll be asking some great questions, and they'll be holding down our Educational Thursday. And then Sunday, I'll see you all. The bishop will be back, and we'll have another great Sunday conversation next week. Again, more love in the community, more mental health assessments. If you are a mental health provider, you look like me, reach out to me. We need some of them services in our community. Again, thank you to the Bayview Y, all of the folks who came out and skated with the bishop last night. It was amazing. We're going to get the pictures out. We'll get the video out to everybody. It was a great event. And again, we're going to continue to do our part to uplift the community. We're going to lift the voices of the people, and we're going to change that narrative. The stigma of mental health in our community. Today, we tackled a tough one, colleagues. But I think the mental health is going to change. For community, keep believing. Keep staying optimistic. Keep stepping forward. Things are happening. We're going to ingrain mental health in all of our areas of our life, whether it's at work, in the community. We're going to keep making sure that mental health is the top priority. So, with that being said, I bid you all a great day now. I know the Warriors lost. Don't be calling me tomorrow. You didn't say nothing about the Warriors. Yes, our Warriors lost, but tomorrow we will come back. We'll be great tomorrow. Everybody, be safe out there. Y'all heard Khalees in the opening. There's a lot of things happening in our community. Be safe out there. People are losing their minds because they're not tuning into their mental health. Be careful. You never know who you're around. The spirit of the negative energy and the enemy is present in our community. Stay prayed up, community. We'll continue to pray for you. Be safe, and we'll see you all on Tuesday for our next live show. Have a blessed evening, everybody.